On, everybody? It's another episode of the D.B.A.B. podcast. It's your boy Curtin. We're here with Cletus and Jack. Just the three amigos tonight. Cobbs is out still. If you don't know or had forgot,
Playing daddy duty.
he is a dad. He is officially a father. So we wish him and Taylor all the best. We're all thankful and blessed that they had a healthy, beautiful girl. So Cobbs is playing daddy right now, so he will not be with us. And Adam is out doing Adam things. So again, it's just three amigos here. Um, gonna bring you another great episode. Gonna give you a quick update for us as we are into our football seasons and just got done with week one and I think all of us had our first scrimmage. So we're gonna talk about things that we saw from our kids that we liked, and then kind of look ahead to our second week, which is another scrimmage, and then of course after that is when it's all for real. But as the fellas know, we are officially in that grind season. Um, I know personally for us, this was our last week. He gave us Saturday and Sunday off before all that starts to happen. So it was kind of nice to get some things done before literally you have no time for anything. But without further ado, like I said, it's DBAB podcast. Remember, you can find our podcast anywhere podcasts can be found: Apple, Spotify, all the above. We're also on YouTube and Twitter. Today, we'll continue our talk about college realignment. There's some interesting developments being happened since last time we spoke. Some of them we kind of, not that we predicted it correctly, but we talked about it from things that we saw, and then they are literally happening now. So it's kind of exciting to see there in the world of college athletics, mainly college football, but just how it also kind of impacts the rest of college athletics as a whole. And kind of talk about some other, future alignment talks. And something for me that's been kind of crazy and fun to see was some of the people with their kind of like ideas about how the alignment could like shape up, or like if they had the ability to change it, like what the conferences would look like and all stuff based on geographics and stuff like that. I know I shared some of the stuff in our group chat and Cletus didn't like some of it, but we'll talk about it a little bit more as we get going, because there's been some interesting takes, if you will, from people with all the alignment. Everything's going to be changing, like all traditional rivalries, traditional conferences that we've grown up knowing. Like a lot of that is changing. It's literally to the point now where I think we can all say RIP to the Pac-12, right? Since they've been the one conference that's been hit the most with the recent college realignment. We'll get quick updates on Major League Baseball and whatever else comes to mind here. But without further ado, everybody knows that this is the DBAB podcast. What's going on, everybody? It's Curtin. It's the DBAB podcast. So the first thing we're going to start off with, just like we kind of mentioned in our little prelude there, was for us Texas high school football coaches. We just got done with our first week that led up to us being able to go out and hit somebody in a different colored jersey. The first week of scrimmages. So we're going to kind of dive into that and talk about it. I'll go first to kind of just to get us rolling here, and we can save the best for last and whatnot. But here in Peaster, we had a home scrimmage. We had our Meet the Greyhounds night, so that was pretty successful. We had a really good turnout in terms of our community and support. I know a lot of people are excited about our current, going into this year in our football season. So we've got a lot of buy-in from our community, which has been great. We have a lot of people that help us behind the scenes in terms of getting the game field ready, all that good stuff. So shout out to all those individuals, those parents that dedicate their time and efforts to come help our program look good and do everything for the kids. We scrimmaged Millsap, which one of the coaches was telling me that they went 3 rounds deep last year in 3A Division II, so they were a pretty solid group. No slappies over there. It's good-looking kids, including a big-ass tight end. And we did well overall varsity. If you wanted to score, it was 4-1, if you will. Offensively, we saw a lot of good things from our kids. The line got after it. They were feisty. We had our skill kids were making some plays. We scored twice on our first 9 plays of the scrimmage, so that was really encouraging. Some good stuff, right? We kind of noticed that some of our kids, we get into them for practice. We're trying to, go game speed and work hard, and all that typical cliche that as coaches that we have to battle with kids in practice. But when the lights turned on and it was kind of a game situation, those kids balled out, and it was great to see. It was a lot of great energy, and of course, there's stuff for us to work on. Obviously, we weren't nowhere near perfect, and of course, we didn't show everything that we got, but it was good to see. Defensively, those kids were flying around, tackling, um, hitting those guys. Offensively, like I said, we moved the ball pretty well. The line was aggressive and getting off the ball and creating holes, all that good stuff. It was a good night for the Peace of Greyhounds. We look forward to our next scrimmage this coming week against Glen Rose, who's a very, very good team in the 4A classification. So it's going to be a test for us. But at the end of the day, it's just going to make us better. You know what I mean? Like playing a team like that is going to prepare us for the road that we got ahead. Because overall, our schedule, just like everybody else's, is pretty salty, and it's just going to make us better. So as long as we stay healthy, that's our main goal, and continuing to take the right foot forward. Because remember, only way up is up.
Oh,
Right?
well said, sir.
Thank you.
Got a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're new to the DFW Metroplex type atmosphere of football. What was your first idea when you saw it?
Uh, it's a little different. Like I said, the one thing that kind of got me was the community buy-in. We still kind of have Easter as a small town, if you will, still, even though it's growing and it's just north of Weatherford, but it still has that small town values and identity. So, but just having the support out there, like I said, it was a pretty good crowd. Um, Watching those kids play, it was a lot of tough nose football, a lot of hitting. There was and good play. Um, but I think to really answer your question, it will have to be next week after watching Glenrose and seeing that. But I would say the caliber of play was a little different. These kids were, whereas Peaster kids, they're still learning football, if that makes sense. Their program is still fresh for them compared to other schools, but it was a little different. Just to answer, a little different, not totally different from coming from the Houston area, um, but there's a little bit of a different. But like I said, as this season goes on, Jack, I'm definitely going to be seeing some different cats flying around, especially when we're playing schools like Brock, Whitesboro, and Wall and stuff like that. But it was good. Cleat, how the Eagles doing? How'd y'all do with y'all's first scrimmage? What's your takeaways from it?
Did well. Kids competed their butt off. We scrimmage Rawls, which they're a smaller classification than us, but they run the slot T, and if you've ever seen the slot T in action, it's a son of a bitch. It is a son of a bitch to prep for because you can never get a good look in practice
Right.
just because it's so different than even like the wing T or the flex bone like what we run. It's just so different. And so defensively I thought we freaking one of our seniors set the tone early. They trying to run buck sweep and he blew that shit up and set the tone with a big hit to start the game, and we physically whipped their tail up front and whipped them with our ones. Our twos is like kind of what I told you on the group text. It was we got a lot of work to do with our twos. Our ones did really well. Kids competed well. You know, it's one of those things where we just kind of evaluating and figuring out who's going to be who's going to be in the foxhole with you. What kids can you trust to do a job? What kids can you do we need to call something to help these kids out in terms of a tag or something to help them do their job a little better? And so we found out some stuff about our kids, and some kids we were worried about did a great job. Some kids we were pretty confident about struggled a little bit, but overall it was good. Kind of the same thing with you. We had some members of the community out, and it was pretty positive. It was pretty positive vibes. But the like I said, the kids did kids did a great job. We got New Deal um, on Thursday, and so and y'all two know New Deal is always going to have athletes, and so it's going to be a lot better measuring stick for us than what Raw's was, and so it's gonna be good. Then we'll get rolling, see what we got. We got Meet the Eagles this Friday, so we're kind of wrapping fall camp up, thankfully, and getting ready to roll with the season.
Absolutely. Before we get to Jack, like I said, saving the best for last. But you know, in my mind, because I always think it like sometime when I was a soccer coach, I used to not like scrimmages. Like I used to just hate the idea of scrimmages. Now,
Hmm.
it's good in a way because it lets you go against an opposition, you know, rather than your own teammates. Allows you to kind of see some things. You're able to throw kids in the fire to see how they're going to do, like we talked about. But it's kind of, I don't want to say it's wasted, but then just the, like in our case with the injury, so you always run that risk of losing kids in a situation where
It
it's a
doesn't
game where it
matter.
doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, too, like it's something that it's just part of the game, right? Like we could go
Hmm.
through scrimmages and be completely healthy in the first game of the year, just falling like flies. It's just sometimes it's just how the cookie
Uh,
crumbles with that kind of regard. But
well, it's like you were saying with the injuries. Um, that stuff could have happened in practice,
right,
and essentially, I mean, it's what dating scrimmage is just practice.
yeah,
You just get to work on, you know, get to work on different stuff and figure out, especially like a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator calling for the first time, or new team. So you get to figure out what your team can do well, what we don't do well, and go from there.
right. But at the end of the day, you get the little bit of iron sharpen iron, if you will.
Hmm.
So, all right, Jack, how about those Tigers? Give us a report.
They fight like tigers, baby.
Let's go.
No. What's that old saying? You left a lot of meat on the bone. Um, I would say we did some really good things. We did some really bad things, and it's a scrimmage. Some of up front, I think our guys, um, they're still not in game shape. You know, especially those three guys that are coming back to play 13 games for us in our playoff run. So they're as soon as they get in game shape, they'll be a lot better. But they haven't reached that yet because they don't quite understand that the game speeds. It takes time to get back. As a Cletus knows, you won't know because you a diva coach, but it takes a little bit to get the fire off, fit, finish, blocking of an offensive lineman. A couple weeks to get them to the rhythm of things of how, especially in the wing tee and slot tee, it's a little different because they have to put their hand in the dirt. They got to fire off and get in the rhythm of their quarterback's cadence and everything else around them. So it takes a little bit to get that going. But as soon as it gets that going, Cletus knows what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
look at me like I'm
Well,
old, but
and really, you don't get that from the JV
no,
when you're blocking JV kids.
yeah,
I mean, you just don't. You got to have those Friday night reps.
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what it was. That when it's like that whole saying they dip their toe in the water instead of going full jumping in. They kind of dip their toe in the water, see if they could play this way instead of going full out. But they knew their rules. They blocked what they were supposed to. We I mean, you got to think about we got like 20 something seniors, and a lot of those seniors have played 3 years of varsity, 2 years of varsity. So it's we I complimented them. This has probably been the easiest coaching fall coaching in the fall camp I've ever had as a coach, and I think that's a that's a benefit of them. It's nothing I'm doing. It's all them absorbing the knowledge and getting better as players.
Right.
And it's a credit to what they've done, not anything I've done. It's what they've done, and they put it all together on a Friday night, and they did a heck of a job. We scrimmaged Frisco Centennial. No major injuries. We had a couple kids banged up, but they'll be all right by the time we play another East Texas school, Hallsville, in the first in 2 weeks. So that's who we're really waiting for because that's when we really try to strap everything up and ready to go. But other than that, we left a lot of stuff on the table. I think we dibbled our toe in the gun stuff. I think that's just we'll get better at that as we go on. But I think they're coming along. I can't complain too much about them. I see things differently. I wish they would have done better, but It is. I don't really keep score. Like I don't give a crap what the score was.
Right.
Um, but physicality. So we got like different. I think Sudbury's does a great job of how he schedules scrimmages. Like we played Frisco Centennial, and the next week is Tyler High, which Tyler High is going to be bringing it. They're physical, they're big, fast. That's East Texas, so we'll see how physical we really are. And that's one question that we want answered before Hallsville: how physical we are. And wing T football is physical, so that's one thing we need to be that needs to be answered. So we'll find out.
I got you. So, like, obviously, y'all have offensive line background, and obviously, it takes a little bit longer for those guys to get going because, like y'all said, it's hard to replicate what they're going to see on a Friday night in practice. Like Cleet said, like it's hard for them to go up against JV. Um, you kind of want to instill that mindset in them that you want them to work their tails off in practice and go hard. That when the game comes, it slows down, all that stuff. But it's a bit difficult when you have JV kids that can't match that physicality, or brother-in-law them, or just
or just won't get off the ball on
yeah,
scout.
yeah, or they just stand around and not act like they don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to play defense, even though when they transition, they're all defensive all stars. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
so in a way, scrimmages are really good for offensive linemen too because it allows them to go up against somebody that's not a JV guy, a varsity kid that's trying to do the same thing they are. They're trying to explode off the ball and go make a play. So now you have to raise your game to that. Like you were saying, like the two scrimmages allows y'all to kind of see who's going to do it, who's not, and kind of work it. Allow those kids to see that kind of atmosphere. So when you do roll into week one, it's not a complete shock to their system, if that makes sense or whatnot. So that's good. That's good. Like I said,
Definitely.
ours same with ours. Like we were really happy with our offensive linemen and how they were exploding, getting off the ball, and we had pretty good officials, even though it was first scrimmage. But one thing they didn't really do was kind of communicate with our offensive line in terms of blowing a whistle or letting them know ball's gone. So we had guys that were just biting their tails off, even when the ball had been thrown 30 yards downfield. They're still whooping ass. So it was good to see that they had that fight and that hunger. And so we're hoping that transition. Like I said, we got a pretty good offensive line, a lot of big boys. So we're excited about that.
I'm sure you are.
Uh, yeah,
I'm
for me,
sure
like
you are, big dog.
yeah, well, like it's like I was telling our coaches here, like this is the biggest offensive line I've been with in my coaching career so far. You know what I mean? So
And it's
they,
3A. It's a smaller school than what you were at last year too.
yeah, smallest school I've been at. So this is like even being, I know Lubbock High is not really a football school, but like the offensive line here is bigger than anything that they had
I'm sure they're
collectively.
bigger than what I got here.
They probably average
Same.
6'2" or so, and
Oh,
250
average. Oh,
plus. You know what I mean? So
that's always nice.
yeah, they're pretty big kids. You know what I mean? So for
That's
the
why we
most
run the
part,
flex bone, the wing T, Jack.
Yeah.
That's why we run. Y'all run
Yeah.
the wing T. We run the damn flex bone.
Our side is gone.
Yep. I
I
don't
think
think we ever
I averaged 6'1" here, under 6 foot.
chewy. I think we're under 6 foot, and like our two starting tackles are probably $180 a piece.
Hmm.
But we don't need them to be just huge. We just need them to move and get on linebackers.
yeah,
And what we do, I think that's a big reason why they started running the flex bone here is just because the lack of lineman
yeah,
type kids here.
Yeah.
yeah. But I've learned throughout my career too that at the end of the day, it's nice to have kids that average out to be 6'4" and are 300 pounds and all this kind of stuff. But there's kids that could be 5'8" and a buck 50, and they can still get the job done for the most
Yep.
part in terms of just getting in the way. Now, sometimes,
Until you meet that 6'4", 300 pound dude
yeah, I was
across
just about to say,
the.
like in Sealy, our line, our center, bless his heart, he was probably 5'10", probably a buck 75 or so, and would hold his own in a 4-man front, but then they would shift to a 3-man front or be a 3-man front team, and it had a big ass nose, and sometimes it's just you just sitting there and
Lots of
battle for your life.
lots of deuces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's the big thing here is you definitely Jimmy's and Joe's, not the
right,
X's and O's, but the Jimmy's and Joe's. That's a
yeah,
big. You'll notice that here in this part of Texas.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, so I'm glad to hear that we all had pretty good, successful scrimmages the first week. Obviously, like Jack said, score doesn't matter. So, like, obviously, when I brought it up for us, it's not like we were
You
boasting
were
about
keeping
it or
track.
whatever.
Shut up. You were
I
keeping
wasn't.
track. Yeah, you
I
were.
was not. I wasn't.
Cletus,
He was keeping track. Diva coach
I was.
again.
I was.
Freaking diva coach. Tell Trevor to fire your ass.
he's texting him as we speak.
Go
You
ahead, Joe.
forget I know one of your bosses pretty well.
Oh yeah, I know. It's okay. That's, yeah, do as you will. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
But anywho, as we
Ah,
switch topics here. But on a brief detour, yesterday I went to the movies and I saw the Meg 2. I was super excited about
So
was it as
what?
bad as the Meg one?
the Meg 2, the big shark movie.
Um,
Well, you gotta understand, like me, like I enjoy movies like that. Like I
well,
just
we
go in
enjoyed that
there.
alligator movie that came in a couple years ago. Me and
Yeah,
Josh loved that one.
yeah. Was it Crawl?
Yeah.
I like movies like that as long as they're not too stupid. I'm going to enjoy it because like I'm not going to be over the top critical about movies. Obviously there's certain times when you watch a movie and you start thinking about it because you've seen so many different things about people breaking down stuff. So you're like, oh, I don't think that's scientifically accurate or whatever. But then you just watch the movie just to watch the movie. You don't care about the real science of it or all that kind of stuff because at the end of the day, it's just a movie to entertain you. They're not going for you know awards for being the most scientifically correct movie or whatever. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. It's your typical sharks, and then it had your typical storyline of human beings and being greedy and thinking they can control nature and all that kind of blah blah blah. So it was a good movie.
Did you go to Film Alley?
I did.
That place is thebomb.com.
It was cool, man. The only thing I didn't like about it is they don't have the seats that recline.
They don't. They got them
Uh,
here at this
not this.
one.
This one doesn't have the reclining seat.
Oh, come on, Weatherford, get your stuff together over
I
there. This
know,
one here.
I know, but the rest of it was fine. Like I was kind of thrown off a little bit when I ordered drinks and stuff, and they give you like the actual like cup. It's not a cup you throw away, like a
Yeah,
reusable one, and they
and
give
the
you this big
popcorn
ass bowl for a popcorn. I was like,
and
this is
refill,
awesome.
baby.
Yeah,
Woo woo.
I was like, that's awesome. But yeah, it was a good time. So I was able to have a little bit of free time yesterday. I went and saw it. Kind of
Oh,
try
you
to
hear
catch
that,
up.
Cleet? That's something we haven't heard him say in 3 weeks.
what? I got free time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's time to
Yeah.
do that. It's not have time to text us though. Yeah, see
What?
how it is. It's all right.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
speak,
Anyways, I just
speaking,
wanted to.
speaking
Anyways,
of free time,
let's switch gears.
if you
Yeah.
have, if speaking of free time, if you have 16 minutes,
Hmm.
okay, 16:23, I recommend watching Dirk Nowitzki's Hall of Fame induction speech.
I bet that's pretty good. I bet that's pretty good.
It's good.
I've seen some of the stuff about D Wade's, but that's because whatever I like the
The
Bleacher
class,
Report. Those
all the class people that he went in with,
people.
but it's all about this guy. The guy said some stuff that, like the end, I sent you the last thing he said.
Yeah, it was pretty
If
good.
you're green, you grow. If you're ripe, you rot.
Yes, that was pretty good. I like that. Nice little takeaway. Um, but it's always something I believe in too, that you're never going to be perfect in anything that you do in life. You know what I mean, so
Yep.
you always got to be striving to learn and be different because if you think you ever reach the plateau, there's, you'll stall out. You know what I mean? You won't get better and somebody else will overtake you. That was a good message to have that I know we all try to preach to our kids every day. So,
It's open.
dang, Anna, come on now.
Have
But,
dogs, they said. It'd be fun, they said.
oh, I know. Tell me about it. So it's great. It was nice and peaceful for the week I didn't have them, and then they're okay. It's not like it's been chaos since they've been back, but just a little bit of a different vibe now that
I like your feng shui in the back of your
Thank
room
you.
that
It's
you got
not
there.
it's not set up how I want it, but it's
It's coming
serving me well.
along
Yeah, trying to make it look trying to give me a nice little background here when we record so you can see that,
better than
I'll
mine.
picture of Clemson graduating. Oh yeah, shout out to Jack, everybody. Jack is officially done with his Clemson graduate program. Uh he is a now an alumni of the Clemson University. So congratulations, Jack. Right? I know it
Appreciate
felt like a long 2 years, but at the same time it felt very fast.
you. Yeah, it's true. Um,
But the one great thing about that program, it's all online for people that don't know. It's athletic leadership there at Clemson University. some great people that you're going to meet, great
Definitely.
instructors, great instructors, like I said, who really care about you and do a great job of delivering the materials and teaching it to you. But then you also meet some great students, and they're people from all around the country. It's not just people based in Clemson. Like Jack can probably attain to. Like I had people from, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Texas, California, Pennsylvania, all around. You have student athletes that are either currently student athletes or they're student athletes that have, expired their eligibility, but they're getting into coaching or whatever the case may be. So you get to build a lot of connections with those people because a lot of the times you go through the whole entire course with them, or at least half the course with them. So it's great, you know what I mean? And of course, to be able to go up there and see them in live in person and get to see the university in a town is also a cool experience. So I was able to do that last year with my sister and brother, and it was a really cool experience. I believe Jack is him and Hannah are going to try to go in December, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Indeed.
they're definitely going to enjoy that. I'd recommend like flying to Atlanta, drive up, and then drive back to Atlanta, and because Atlanta has some cool stuff to do too, like the College Football Hall of Fame and the Coca Cola Museum and all that kind of stuff. So
It's our
you can make
plan.
it a nice little trip.
It's our plan to check it out. Definitely.
So,
Just, just not. It wasn't good timing this year for us because
uh
starting school and scrimmage and well, it was a tough time to make it this time. But
yeah, for sure,
I'm
it definitely is because of football stuff like that.
I know we didn't start the show off with it, but be the light moment. Mine was um, they gave me a little celebration on Friday morning. Um, that said congrats and gave me a little ceremony saying thank you. They're proud of me and all of this, and I appreciate it. And they didn't have to do it, but they did it, so it made me feel loved and appreciated. So
Was that there at Terrell?
yeah, it was Coach Austin guest told the cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders got started, and Hannah was part of it, and we kept it quiet for a week. And
That's
Friday morning, which was fitting because that morning I would have been in Clemson graduating,
right.
but they made it and made it a
That's awesome.
little ceremony. So I appreciate that. Made
Yeah,
you feel loved and appreciated. Said some
absolutely.
nice words. So thank you for making me feel like the light. So I appreciate that. Made me feel
That
like somebody, definitely.
that's
But
awesome. That's awesome, man.
yeah,
I didn't know that obviously, so this is the first time hearing about it, but it's just really cool that people that know things about you like that, like Coach Austin and of course Hannah and all them, but how they kind of take time out of their days to,
yes,
because doing what we did, getting our master program, that's not something that's easy to do, or because it's financially it's going to cost you obviously, but time commitment and all that kind of stuff, and some people
sacrifices
they just
from
don't.
people you love,
Yeah,
sacrifices from other things you
absolutely.
enjoy.
Yeah,
I know,
so
I know. That's one thing for sure that I took away was the sacrifice that people took away for help me get better. It
mhm,
goes a long way. So all the people that I appreciate all the people that have been in my corner for this, and you guys mean the world to me. So it's one thing that for sure, just another extra letters at the end of your name or another piece of paper.
right.
It's I think the only profession in the world that you have to get in debt to get higher up in the world, but it is what it is. So that
Okay.
I appreciate that, and it works. I appreciate you, Joshy. You helped me a lot along the way, and so I wouldn't have been able to do it without a lot of your help. So I appreciate you, big guy. Hope you know that.
Well,
You're
well,
my brother from another mother.
amen,
Oh,
man.
Cletus. Cletus is never gonna let me down. I
Cletus
know.
is number
I know.
one. I know that.
Cletus is
Cletus
number
is number
one.
one.
He's never let me down. He never will. So
I
but
just don't have my master's yet.
you'll get there.
You'll get
It's
there. Hey,
coming.
Well,
We know.
I
we
haven't.
know we
I've
know a great
been.
program. So if you want it, we know a great program to go to.
Well, I don't know, man. It's what's stopping me honestly is the cost of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not willing to go into debt to go get a master's degree
Yeah.
Right.
when, for the most part, I can do my job without it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, there's some positions like, and if you want to be an athletic director at a big school, especially, or even athletic director at a small school. Now, the masters and new bachelors, I know
Yep.
nowadays.
Right.
And, I'm just not willing to take out student loans to go into debt and do that. So I don't. I'm still like I've talked about it. I've looked into it. Like I know what program. If I do decide to go, I'll probably go through Angelo.
Yeah.
You
It's
know.
also, always another reason that helped me decide is because, I always tell the kids, go get your bachelor's. If you go get your master's, don't even think about life until you get it. Well, if I'm going to talk about it, I have
You'll
to
be
be about
about it.
it. So
Yep.
that's one of my big reasons why, I can't talk the talk. I got to walk the walk. That's one of my big things is I got to live the model I want my kid, my players, all these people to live by. I have to live it.
Right.
And so that was one thing that I was like, I keep telling them to go get it, but I don't have it myself. So that's one thing. And, it's a competition between me and Hannah. So, Hannah's about to finish up at hers. So, and I asked her if she wanted to go UTPB, baby, go Falcons in May. And she doesn't. So I might take her on a trip somewhere. Uh,
Pro
but
alumni.
we know, go
Go
Falcons.
Falcons.
Go
Go
Falcons.
Falcons. Go
Yeah.
Falcons.
Yeah. But
Oh,
no, it's appreciate all you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Missed a lot of podcast days because of grad work and homework and being too busy. That's a big thing.
I'm
that's
sure there
so
was days y'all wanted to go like comedy club or movie, and you had freaking homework that day.
That's definitely true. The sacrifices were definitely there. So,
yeah,
but
absolutely. And it like I said, it was time consuming, not in a major or negative way. It's just as long as you are organized and stay on top of stuff, it's still going to take your time to do what was needed to be successful. You know what I mean? Because anything in life, if you want to be successful at it, you're going to have to sacrifice some time and put some work into it. So I was just glad that I was able to kind of pass on what had been given to me prior because uh,
we have a good mentor.
we had a great mentor that he went through the program first, and so I went through second. So I didn't really try to lean on him too much, but he was always a resource that I could reach out to, and he helped. And then I just tried to reciprocate that to Jack when he went through, and tried to help him out as much as I can. So, but at the end of the day, Jack had to do the work, and he did the work, and he was very successful. So I'm super proud of him for doing that and getting it and having it his goal and then seeing it through and getting it done. Those things in life are huge and or could be lessons that are taught to kids. And they don't have to go get their masters or have to go get this and that, but just setting a goal, working your ass off to go get it, and then when you achieve it, the satisfaction you get is like it's literally there's nothing in the world that feels that good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But and then even like for you,
It's
Cleet,
almost when a boy. It's almost when you win a football game. You win a big moment.
yes,
Kind of that same kind of feeling, like a light bulb moment. As a
mhm,
teacher, or
yeah,
they do the play exactly as it's drawn out, and you score a touchdown. And you're like, let's go.
yeah,
All those moments, and it connects to that, and you're like, what's now? Like this Sunday, I'm like, what am I?
right,
I've been giving Hannah a hard time today. She's gonna get mad I say this, but I've been giving her a hard time. I've done like all the stuff we usually do on Sundays, like the dishes, meal prep, and all that. And I said, must be nice to be you today, because you get to do your homework and I have to do all this stuff. But that's how it is. But anyway, so
that's
Joshua,
yes,
what's as the DBAB podcast is on to something. You want to know what I mean? Cletus brought it up, the running backs thing a week before. And then the week before, the next week,
yes,
ESPN makes an article about running backs are becoming thing of the past, but it's these
yep,
new hybrid running backs.
right,
Then the next week, we talk about what schools do we think are leaving to go to another conference.
right.
DBAB podcast brings it up, and the next week it
Mm,
happens almost as what we talked about.
almost ahead of our time.
Almost like we're time travelers. Where's Marty McFly when you need him? But the sports almanac's coming in clutch with us, isn't it, Cletus?
Mm,
But it's crazy that this is like the landscape of stuff that's going on because we literally almost
hey,
3 weeks or 2 weeks in a row we've talked about it and it's literally happened the next 2 days. And it's
right.
also because
The
it's rumblings, it happens and it's brought up in
mm-hmm.
topics and the next thing it happens. We literally mentioned Utah, Washington, uh, Oregon, USC. Like we mentioned all these in our podcast, and the thing that happened. And you mentioned the Pac-12. We said the Pac-12, and then we mentioned the ACC. Well, I think you mentioned the ACC is on a big uproar right now, trying to get out of this
Right.
country.
Yes.
So I know. Hey, what are we what is the DBAB podcast got in store for us tonight? Let's see. What do you
Oh,
got?
that's I don't know.
The
Like it's still
the
like
Pac 4 is still around, so it hadn't dissolved yet. The Pac 4 has not dissolved yet,
yeah, there's still four.
which is crazy to me. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, even
think about that. I mean, really think about that. That's one of the like growing up the premier conferences in
right.
America,
Yes,
and it's basically gone.
I know. That's
Money
what's
talks,
yeah.
baby.
Money
Money
talks.
freaking talks.
Money talks. Bullshit walks. But the crazy thing for me with all the college realignment is the traditional mindset that we've all had because growing up, we had the Pac-12 with USC and UCLA and Stanford and Oregon, and you had the Big 12 with Texas and Oklahoma and Tech, and you had the SEC and the Big Ten, and like now it's just like it's all starting to become a big old, you know, hodgepodge of them all that's leading up to, basically it's going to be a three super conferences, if you will, and everybody else is going
Like,
to either
uh,
die or go smaller. You know what I mean?
again, if you had told me a year ago the Big 12 will be the conference that will survive this, I would have bet you my paycheck.
Right.
Damn it! I should
I would
have
have
looked at
bet
that.
you
I
my
know.
freaking paycheck if you had told me a year ago the Big 12 would be the one surviving, the Pac 12 would be the one dying.
Dang, I wish I can go back in time instead of going
I
forward.
know we're
Go
going
back in
Shoot,
in.
time,
We're
man.
take
going
those
forward
I
in
bets.
mean,
time. Go back in time.
I
it's
think,
just crazy,
yeah,
especially like being in Lubbock. Obviously, I get a listen to a lot of like Double T 97.3. You know, those guys talking about
Put
the
your
Big
guns down.
12,
You still don't have no respect for Lubbock
the
yet.
bit
You haven't gained it
the
back.
the
Keep
Big
going.
12. Lots of Big 12 talk up here, which annoys me, but is what it is. I'm in Big 12 country. I've accepted it, so it's all right. I have my Indian flag in my classroom. It's SEC country in my classroom, so it's all good. But
Hogwash.
but it's just crazy. I mean, you think about like Utah. They went no Big 12. We don't want to. We want to be part of this. And like 2 days later, they're like, hey, y'all still y'all full yet? You know,
It's
you look you
taken.
looking you're looking pretty good right now, Big
you
12.
you
It's
looking really good right now.
Well, it's just like for me, what's been crazy and like, I think you go back to what was it last summer when the major news of I think it was last summer was Texas and Oklahoma leaving, and then USC and
Well,
UCLA leaving. So like,
it's 2012 when Colorado bounced, Nebraska bounced, Missouri bounced, A&M bounced
yeah, but they
from
still
their traditional
yeah, but
conferences.
the Big 12 was still able to be reliable because they still had Texas and Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
as its main brands, if
Sort
that makes sense. So
source of revenue. Yeah.
yeah, and then of course, you think about the Big 12 has done a really good job of like they lose Texas, they lose Oklahoma to the SEC, and you think, oh, all right, that's the Big 12. It's going to go down the drain. They're going to be picked apart. And I remember there were discussions about like for Tech going to the Pac-12 and all this kind of
Well,
stuff. And
wasn't Tech one of those like, will Tech find a home?
right,
Like they were kind of talked about as kind of them that kind of oddball. Like, what do you do with Tech? Tech baseball is really good. Tech basketball is really good. Tech football, which the moneymaker is average. So are they going to be left at the altar? Kind of like going, where do we go? You
Yeah.
know, which is, I mean, again, it's just crazy. A year ago, thinking we were talking about that.
Damn, I wish I would have took that bet.
I know,
I'm
but
not a gambling man, but that would have been a heck of a bet.
I know,
His
I think,
paycheck's not very much, but it's still more than not having nothing.
yeah, absolutely, it's better than zero. Um, but I think what's helped the Big 12 is that they were actually pretty on the front foot about replacing Texas and
I would say it's
Oklahoma.
this, my friend.
They're aggressive.
I would say it is
Well,
their their appearances in the national championship and the Final Four game in the last 5-6 years have helped them get those schools because
Right.
they're
Yeah.
also, they're picking at them, but they had a national. They were in the national championship last year.
Right.
A year ago or 2 years ago, they were in the Final Four. The year before that, they were in the New Year's Six. Like they've always had a Big 12 team in
Right.
big time games that's marketable for schools that don't necessarily have those all that publicity. Like the only big game that the Big 12 had was the USC one against Tulane in the Cotton Bowl and the Rose Bowl, which you also know the Rose Bowl has now became a national championship or Final Four game,
Yeah, it's part of
Final
the
Six
playoff
game.
now.
Now it is. It was, but originally it wasn't. So most people just watch it 12, and then now that's what helped the Pac-12 and the Big Ten or the Big 12 is them having schools playing big moments in New Year's Six games
Yeah, absolutely. The Big 12, I would say easily for the last 5 years, has had way more success overall as a conference compared to the Pac-12. So
in
that,
every sport besides
yeah,
Stanford
yeah, yeah,
baseball.
overall, like basketball, all this stuff, they've had more success the last few years. So it's kind of helped them separate from the Pac-12. You know what I mean? And so like when Texas and Oklahoma left, it was easier for them to recruit schools like Central Florida and Houston and BYU to. They're not as big brands as obviously Texas and Oklahoma, but they're still really good brands to bring to your conference to keep your conference
Mm-hmm.
at a level that's going to not decrease its value. You know what I mean? It's not like they took in, like Louisiana Tech or Florida International or, teams that kind of bring down their
Right.
value because they're,
Rice.
yeah, but they're just not as good athletically. But now you got teams that the conference is still going to be competitive. You know what I mean? Like, and whatnot. And the Pac-12 hasn't really done a good job of adding quality to their conference. And then, of course, once they lose, you know, they lost USC and they lose UCLA, so like two blue bloods of that conference. It's just like the writing was on the wall. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it had to be. You just knew that writing. Like that's like of course, I don't know. It's not like it's almost like a death blow. Like it's just tough, and it's just crazy to think that the Pac-12 would no longer be, like Cleet said earlier, with all the tradition and all the history from that conference. From way back then when their basketball, UCLA was running it up in basketball, and then
Yep.
they've had success in baseball, and then of course in football. When you think about it, most recently was the early 2000s with USC with Reggie Bush and all that kind of stuff. Which uh, I've seen some stuff with Bush that's been really interesting. I'm sure y'all have seen it on Twitter. We'll talk about that in a second, but but like every once in a while, since then, like the U.S., the Pac-12, football wise, would have a team or two that did well. Like the Oregon teams with Marcus Mariota had some success, even though they didn't win at
S-
all. Uh,
Stanford Andrew Luck was relevant.
yeah, they were
You
relevant, but
know,
the conference,
Cal with Marshawn Lynch and
yeah,
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
the
yeah.
conference was still pretty strong when those studs were coming through. And
Hmm.
but even just think about the last 5 years of the Pac-12. Who's been the most consistent team the last 5 years in the Pac-12? I would say Oregon and
5,
probably Utah.
Oh yeah. In the last 12 years,
Well, I would just last five.
5.
the last five have been USC.
Really?
For
You think
three,
so?
for three, they've been relevant.
Since Lincoln Riley took over?
Yeah.
Well, he's only been there
I
1 year though, right?
Two.
This is
Is
year
this
3, I think. No,
Is year
is
two.
this year two because they just
this
had
is year
Caleb
2.
Williams for the first time last year?
Oh, that's right.
They just had done with his first season was pretty successful for them compared to what they had with Elton.
Well, it's USC is one of those programs when they're relevant. College football is a lot more is a lot funner.
Right.
Thunder.
Yeah, funner.
More
That's
fun.
my call. It's word of the day right there.
But obviously, as we all know, the Pac-12 is basically gone. The teams
Mhm.
that are left: Oregon State, Washington State, Stanford, and Cal. You know, I've seen stuff about where they're going to go. You've seen stuff about them all possibly merging with the Mountain West, so that at least have a conference to be in, or they go independent and stuff like that. I just know from a financial point, from those schools, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. You know what I mean? In terms of trying to keep their athletics running because they were used to being paid a certain amount from their TV rights deal in the Pac-12, but when that's gone, know what I mean? It's how they going to be able to manage their sports programs on a reduced budget. You know what I mean? So like, I don't. Sometimes people, I don't know if they think about that with all this realignment. Because obviously people, excuse me, they look at it and be like, all right, USC, UCLA left the Pac-12, going to the Big Ten. All right, they're going to be making so much more money in that conference. Yoo-hoo. But when the teams that don't, you know what I mean? Like now you got to think about them financially. How they going to
Hmm.
recuperate and recover from that. It'll be interesting to see where there's how those four schools shake up in terms if they go to another conference, if they go independent, whatever the case may be. Um, in the ACC, recently it's been a lot of talk of Florida State been the ones kind of being the driving force in terms of trying to get out of the ACC. Uh, but there's just a lot of legalities to it that's making it difficult for any team in the ACC to get out. Like one, they have to pay. Like I saw the figure the other day. It was literally it's triple digits to get out in millions. It's over $100 million to get out.
So it's okay. I
It's,
mean,
it's so like that's one block they have to get out because like I know previously I think Lee, you mentioned like it was 50 or 60, which I was kind of low. Like, and then there was another article that came out that said it was like I think it said like 120 million or something like that. So
that's
that's
that's probably. I mean, because Texas OU Exim was what?
was it
It
50
was
million or something.
50 to $75 million, right?
Yeah,
Which, granted, those two schools they got the boosters and the money to just find that in their freaking couch cushion
right,
and give it right. And Florida State's always be to me one of those programs. They got the boosters to go. How much we need? Okay, they got probably a
right.
handful of boosters that could write that check right now, and it'll be fine. You know, um, but it's kind of what we talked about yesterday or last week was like with ACC. Duke football not relevant. Duke basketball super relevant.
Yeah.
North Carolina football has been competitive with Mac Brown,
Yeah.
but North Carolina basketball and baseball pretty dang good.
Right.
You know, Louisville football has been pretty competitive. Louisville basketball has been pretty good. Louisville baseball has been pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's like, just where do those teams go? I mean,
Yeah. I think so. If the ACC were to dissolve and those teams are a free for all, you know what I mean? I literally think that it's going to be the Big 12, Big 10, and SEC just having their pick of the litter. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
If the ACC just dissolved and it was free game, because obviously if you thought about it, so the SEC, so Florida State and Miami and maybe Clemson, all those type of schools like the southeastern schools would probably go in the SEC, where the northern half of those ACC schools
Big
would
Ten.
probably go into the Big Ten and
I agree
whatnot.
with that. I agree with that.
But the thing about the ACC is there's two hurdles they got to get over. So one is the exit fee, which is obviously astronomical for a conference to pay, and then two, the other part of their contract is their grants of rights. So even if they pay to get out of the conference, they still don't own the grant of rights. So basically, the coverage, the media coverage of
really,
their games and stuff like that. The ACC conference has both of those controlled. So that's why it's such a
until
sticking
the
point till it
until the
expires.
contract's up.
Yeah, until it
Really?
expires. Yes. So
Wow.
that's some of the tricky things about the ACC that these other conferences don't necessarily have to worry about when they're jumping ship and stuff like that. But the ACC, how they kind of screwed themselves over with their contract, their TV rights contract, they've kind of
Looked good at the time. It was state of the art at the time.
yeah, but
But just like
they
most facilities, they're good for 10 years. And then once you get to that 10-year,
uh,
you get one like SoFi.
10 years probably at the rate it's every 5 years.
I agree. I
Some of
agree.
these schools,
But they thought they would have the right idea at 10 years.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, they
because they're
definitely
looking
had the
at
right idea.
stability. They were
Yeah, they
thinking
definitely had the right
stability
idea.
with everyone's movement. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, definitely right idea until the SEC and Big 12 started to dominate and started getting more money, and then now the ACC is like, uh-oh. But they hold the leverage because they have, the contract favors them. You know what I mean? So, uh,
Speaking of SEC and like media stuff, did y'all happen to watch the the Johnny Football
Yeah.
doc yet,
no, not yet.
guys? dude, dude. It was. I wish, and I heard this on ESPN radio, and I agree with this. I wish it was another 30 to 45 minutes longer
Hmm.
because it was really starting to get good with the NFL stuff, and it just like
They're probably
dropped.
hinting it's going to come back or something. I don't know.
Well, if they do a part two, that'd be awesome. I would freaking watch it. But it's pretty good, guy. I would highly recommend. Swamp King comes out August. I'm looking forward to Swamp King.
Yeah, same.
That's going to be a really good doc. The Netflix The Untold has been. I've been watching some of those. They're pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
Those documentaries have been really good.
Well, speaking of, you talking about Untold and stuff. I went and saw our fearless new pops in the house. Went and saw him, and he was talking about all these shows that he's been watching Untold, and he said subtitles are a lifesaver. And he said he gets to just sit here and watch them until something else happens with little Kinsley. So he was telling me, he's like, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this?" And I was like, "No, bro, I have not been able to see this. I'm not the one on daddy duty." So he literally, and it's kind of cool to see them both. They're definitely need they definitely need interaction with adults,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Oh,
take
I bet.
or their friends. So it was good to see him. And I have
Yes,
little
sir.
Kinsley.
No,
We saw the picture. You
I
lucky.
know.
So
Freaking
I couldn't tell in the picture if you when you're holding her. I don't know. Are you trying to flex to show off your gums in the picture
no,
too, or is that just natural? It just happens nowadays. Or
it's just natural. But no, I wasn't trying to flex. Hannah sent me. I sent the picture to Hannah because she's working on school stuff and homework and all this.
What?
And she sent the picture and she goes, the picture, Kinsley's looking. It's like, who the hell are you? What dad dude give me to this giant? Because I'm used to this 5 foot nothing dude. Now I got a
Right.
6'3" dude in my house. What's going on? So, but no. So speaking of the Untold, he brought. Oh, I'm gonna watch that. Did you watch this one? Did you watch this one? Have you seen this one? Have you seen this one? I was like, no, bro, I haven't watched any of those. Like I have not got sat down. I will say what show I have got into. It's only 28 minutes or 26 minutes, and you can watch it in the background noise. Was Twisted Metal. I haven't finished it yet, but it's pretty good.
Oh,
I really love
I watched
Samoa
episode 1
Joe.
the other day.
I really love Samoa Joe and Will Arnett's character, and I really like him. But then it like gets dark and twisted, but you really like the dude and whatever. And it's an interesting and pretty good show. I haven't finished it. I'm like 3-4 episodes left
is
or
it
whatever.
is it a show based on a video game?
Yes,
It's a video game back in the 90s.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's based on the
You know-
video game. But
Oh, so that video game was so fun to play.
yeah, it's a good show. So people watch Twisted Metal.
On Netflix.
Twisted
Or what?
Uh, no, it's on
Peacock or something.
Peacock. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I started watching. I watched episodes. So I watched Untold with Johnny Football.
Yeah.
Then I got about halfway through the Jake Paul Untold, which that one's pretty good. Then I said, screw it. So I went to watch Twisted Metal. That was all in about one day.
Speaking of time off,
Hey, we don't have to grind here.
Have y'all started school yet, Clete?
Wednesday.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
I was like, we're starting school. I was like, when do you? I guess it's like after
He's-
football practice.
He's
you
over
can
here
go
being
home.
quiet about
You
it. We're
can
over
watch
here
it.
like,
Yeah,
we're
y'all slaving away. I can tell you this. I can count on one hand how much time I was in my classroom.
or how many
hours
how many naps
hours.
he's taken.
Oh, dude, I've hung out in a lot of people's classrooms and not done much of mine. But mine's
That's
a freaking-
typical. That's
But
what
mine's
you-
a computer class, and so like all my stuff's set up. I just had to hang some stuff on my walls, and I'm done.
Are you doing like a dual credit or like an ingenuity thing?
No, it's BIM, Business Integration Management.
that boy
So
teaching the
Yeah.
young snappers the film, huh?
we have an instructional coach, which I didn't know what a freaking instructional coach was. And I should have asked her, said, what do you do? Like, what is your job?
That Office Space scene, Josh. What do you do here?
What do you say?
I asked her, I said, what is your job? Like, because I've seen that job post and she explained it to me. So, okay. And so we went over like our lesson plan stuff. And I
Yeah.
told her, so I'm going to struggle with it because I haven't turned lesson plans in consistently in 4 years.
Wow. Way to throw yourself under the bus. You've been at
Well, I
two
just, I
different
was,
schools in 4 years.
I was just honest with her. I mean, because the COVID year, then my second year in Greenwood, they didn't care if I turned lesson plans in or not. And Arizona, I was spotty because there's no accountability. And so if no one's checking on me, I ain't freaking turning lesson plans in.
He's a rule breaker when he has no one watching him.
I
Josh,
know.
moral of the story.
I know.
Well, I will not turn lesson plans in. If you're not going to check up on me, I ain't turning lesson plans in.
Or-
But went over that. It was funny. You know, she's kind of going through the lesson plan stuff. She asked, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do."
All of them.
Why do we have so much crap to fill in? And she looked at me. She goes, "Because we're an A campus." So we were an A campus in Ozona. We didn't have this much stuff. And she kind of like looked at me like,
Why are
"What?"
you being a smart ass, man?
I was being truthful.
you're gonna say
And well, but the thing is, I'm really good. And I told her this too. I said, "Here's the bottom line. I'm really good at saying yes, ma'am, and doing it. Like, well, I have it.
I'm gonna give you
Well,
a fit about it first, but I'll do
I'm
it.
giving a fit about it, but I'm gonna do it. I mean, well, I like it, no, but I'll get them turned in. But I'm just again, I just it's just a lot of stuff I've never had to like fill in before on them, and they're going to a new template this year, and so 98% of the teachers are pissed about that anyway. So it's been a very
nobody can beat him.
eventful week back. So, but it's good. My principal's awesome. Freaking love him.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Our assistant principal, she's awesome. Our instructional coach is awesome. You know, like there's a lot of good people here in Roosevelt, and you know, we're talking about it, and there's a reason. I think there's a reason why a lot of people don't leave here, just because it's a pretty good place to work, just because you got a lot of good people in charge.
It helps.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It
You
definitely
know,
Absolutely.
keeps you
Absolutely.
grounded, keeps you where you want to be, and finds you a home, and you don't want to leave. And if you get taken care of there, you take care of your business in there, they'll take care of you. That's a lot of it. That's good to
oh
hear there,
yeah,
Cletus. So you found you a pretty good little landing spot, didn't you, big
yeah, I
guy?
think so. I think so,
Grizzly
and it's
Bear got him a home for a year or
the
so.
I know.
freaking. It was funny. We had like we're doing new teacher orientation. It's once you've been doing it a while, and y'all know, new teacher, it's the same stuff, just a different logo
Right.
on the background.
Yeah, you've been around
It's
the world 10 times doing it,
yeah,
so
it's
you
it's
you know
it's
more than we do.
Yes.
it's the same stuff, but just a different logo behind it.
Different colors too.
Yeah, and so like we're going through new teacher stuff, and I'm thinking, I'm just getting like eyes glazed over because like I've heard this before. Don't be stupid. Don't text kids. Sports you. Blah 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 blah. All that fun stuff.
Obviously, you're not supposed to throat punch people. Rule one, throw
Rule
two.
one.
Rule two, don't cuss them out, even though you
Yeah.
want to.
Yep.
Rule three, follow authority. Follow the rules of authority. If you have an issue, go talk to your department head. If the department head can't fix it, go talk to your principal that's in charge. And if they can't fix it, go talk to the principal. And if the principal can't fix it, then you go talk to the superintendent. The chain of
Yeah.
command.
Yep.
What's nice here though, which it's more than I've ever been at school wise. Like if we got some, they go. If we got kids in your classroom, handle the little stuff. Don't send them to the office for little things.
Yep.
They go, but if those little things continue, send their butt to the office. Let's handle it. It's not your job to keep policing little crap.
Yep.
Your job's to teach.
Yep.
Okay, sweet.
Which, if you have classroom management or relationships, you can handle that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what that's been one of the main positives that I've experienced. Well, this is me fourth year doing it, but of teaching seniors is that for the most part, and it's like the first day when I talk to the seniors about it, we go through the syllabus because I always bring up the like, all right, here we go. We're going to talk about discipline. You know, never had discipline issues while teaching seniors because I said for the most part, most of y'all are ready to get the hell out of here. So you're not going to try to do anything to jeopardize or elongate your stay or or extend your stay. or anything like that. It's kind of some of the little details, but what's been kind of nice about them is they come in, they do their work. They allow you to do your job, and it's like I tell them, like, because we got 58 minutes here in Peace per class period, and I got 4 sections to teach, which is nice compared to five. Like my schedule here is pretty nice. So I'm pretty fortunate and blessed with what I got here in Feaster. But I said, like, hey, look, for 58 minutes, it's gonna be hard for me to keep your attention for 58 minutes. It's difficult for me to keep my own attention for 58 minutes. Uh, so I said, like, listen, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do my job. That could take me 20 to 30 minutes max in terms of like if I lecture or whatever and stuff like that. Then you're gonna be given an activity to reinforce what we've done. And if we finish and there's 10 minutes left in class or whatever the case may be, that's y'all's time to decompress. I mean, like, I'm not gonna hold y'all hostage for all 58 minutes, if that makes sense.
Build a bill, Josh.
Bell
No
to bell instruction. Bell to
You
bell
you
instruction.
lose
doubt a bill.
2 months
Instruction.
losing 2 minutes of time. We went over that the other day too.
Bell to
It was
bell
You've
like
my
a
learned.
ass.
month. It was like 31 days you lose if you stop like 5 minutes. If you stop 5 minutes before a class is over, it like compounds like 30 something days, 20
Yeah,
something
man.
days.
So bell to bell instruction,
Bell to
Joshua.
bell,
I don't know.
sir.
Bell to bell my
Put
ass.
your
I'm
hand
gonna
out.
teach what I need. They're
Sir.
gonna learn it, and then they're going
Put
to.
your hand out.
No, I'm not. I'll die on that hill. Bell to bell my ass. They can't even get us to pay attention or keep our attention in a fucking professional development.
You're right. I'm watching film usually or doing like football stuff.
Hey, man, not a good look for a coach and teacher to be doing that at PD.
Yeah.
Just, I will say that as a coach. Don't do that at PD.
Yeah.
All you coaches out there, don't watch film or do anything football related while at PD.
Yeah.
Do something
Just
else, not that.
just listen.
Yeah, don't do that.
Look like
That's a
you're
bad
do
look.
look like you're taking notes.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Or
I had people.
participate if you need to, no matter
Yeah,
how.
but don't say watching film and then in a PD and then someone and be in a place where people could see you watching film. That's no look. That's a bad look. Don't do that.
Yep.
Great.
So speaking of all the Mister 10 year over here, out of all the schools you work for, what is your favorite color scheme?
Ooh.
I've only been at 5.
That's
That's probably more than y'all, huh?
yeah,
Oh man, that's favorite color scheme.
yeah.
I give you my least favorite. My two least favorite
What's
was
that?
Health Center and Ozota.
The
The blue
purple.
and gold and the purple and gold were like I wouldn't was not a fan of it.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
um, DC's pretty classic. The red and white. You
yeah.
know, with the gray or the
The chart
duct tape
tape
gray
gray.
jack.
Yeah, duct tape gray. Yeah,
So DC's red and white's that's pretty clean. You can make a lot of stuff look good there.
yeah.
I like ours here at Roosevelt. I mean, we go maroon white, and we throw some black in there too, and
Okay.
black and gray, and so as like an accent color. We got black jerseys with like maroon, like
Yeah,
um, what are they called? Border
yeah,
accent. A black jersey with a maroon accent on it. They look freaking sharp.
yeah.
Um, Greenwoods is. I mean, I know I'm a little biased. If you can, right
Take
there,
the Greenwood. Take the
right there,
Greenwood alum out of it. But
right there. I
yeah,
mean, Columbia blue, navy blue, and white. You can do a lot with that too. I thought our jerseys when we went Columbia blue tops with white pants and our white helmets looked freaking. They were
chef's
look
kiss. Huh?
look sharp.
Mm.
And I've always been a navy blue. I love navy blue.
Yeah,
Love it. That's one of my favorite colors, favorite color schemes. But when we were able to go Columbia blue tops, white pants with a white helmet, it looked freaking sharp,
yeah,
sharp, sharp.
yeah.
So I
So
would say DC, the red and white's just classic, you know. But I do like ours in Roosevelt, the maroon with the white with the black
yeah,
looks. There's a lot you can do with that too,
yeah. All right, Joshua. I'm gonna ask
and
you the same question. Go ahead. But I mean, you can't go wrong. You've been in the purple and gold, man. You don't like the purple and gold?
I just not a fan. And I'm not, man. The purple, if we could throw some black in there, I think it'll look good. Pegasus always threw black with their purple and gold and always made everything kind of pop a little bit.
Yeah.
But like Ozona, you throw black in there, it was like a freaking bad juju
Mm,
stuff. Like you don't do that, you
mm.
know. It's kind of like DC. If you try to throw black in with Denver City, they're going to freaking like
Down.
hang you by the freaking toes,
Yeah. Yeah.
chuckle. So, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm happy here. They're they're they
So,
really don't care
so
as
you're
long as
gonna
you have
have
'em.
so Cletus gonna have some swag on the sideline, huh?
Mm.
I'm about to buy some.
Did you get the black charcoal pant thing fixed? Josh, this
Yes,
man messed up black pants.
you're
How did
about to.
he mess up black up?
Okay,
Messed up
so
black pants.
shut up, Jack. Let me explain this. Okay, so Callaway had their 50% off sale,
Right,
which it's a yearly thing. I usually try to take advantage of it because Callaway's freaking expensive.
right.
So I was going to buy black pants because our head coach wanted black pants for a sideline. So
Right.
okay, so I'll buy them. They come in, they're heather black, so basically just a really really dark charcoal gray.
Mm.
And I look on the receipt, it says heather black. I look online, heather black. On the computer, they look freaking black. Oh, I'm pissed. So I have to go out. I bought a pair of like black slacks today actually to make up for it. So we're good to go there. But
He messed
yeah,
up black, Josh.
messed up black.
That's
So
something you would do, not him.
it's
Sorry,
well,
Cleet. I guess I'm rubbing
eh.
off on you in a negative way somehow.
No, I mean it's my own fault for not reading heather black on it and having the mindset of heather usually means lighter.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you got a nice pair of gray breeches now. So
They
yeah,
do. And they're
I
Callaways.
like them. They're comfortable.
see,
They
there
are.
you go. You could put them in your rotation of breeches.
Yeah, wear them to
Yep.
school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Monday or Wednesday, whenever you start. Josh,
I
you've
know.
been at what 4 schools? What's your favorite color?
Well, 3. I guess you can count Lubbock High if you want, but
Count Lobby High. Count Lobby High.
so 4 schools, and almost literally each it's been mainly 2 color schemes I've been a part of. Like
Blue.
Portisbell and Feaster, they're both like a royal blue with white and silver, or white and gray, if you will. I think PI was more silver, and then Feaster's more gray. Um, and then
Y'all
Lubbock
throw a
High
little
was
black in there, don't y'all? A
what's that?
Peaster.
Uh,
Peaster throw a little more black in there, or is it PI? Strong kind of threw a little black in there.
um, do we have black?
We
Y'all
had
black.
we had black jerseys for one game or something.
Yeah, yeah, but their main color schemes was blue,
Silver.
silver, and white.
Mm.
Feaster's the same way as blue, white, and gray. Like I know we have they order one of the order jersey sets they have a black uh, Nike jersey, but our Nike jerseys aren't that good. For me, they don't look that good, but I'm not a big Nike guy either way. So,
Yeah, I
but
know.
but Lubbock High, they were black and gold basically, or a shade of gold or whatever you want to call it.
Vegas.
Heather gold,
Western gold, baby.
heather
Western
gold.
gold.
Um, and then of course, and Sealy was black and yellow or black.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and
So,
yellow. Like Wiz
so
Khalifa, baby.
yeah, so I would say my favorite color is black. So I like Sealy, the black and gold.
How
Would be my
how
favorite.
tasteless is that? Black?
I just like black. I like black. A lot of things black.
And you wonder why you can't find a date, Josh.
uh,
Oh, anyway, your favorite color is black. It's like that's okay.
All right, Jack. What about you?
yeah. What about
Same
you? Jake?
question.
Uh,
I know, granted, 2 of the color schemes are the same. Granted, I understand
granted,
that.
to the cover skis of skate. My favorite color is red. If you didn't know that,
Why red?
I
So
mean,
bland.
every school I've been to is. I look at when I pick schools. I also look at the color schemes of the school before I apply at it. Just so you know. But red is, I went to shallow water, so shallow water is red, black. red, black, and white. Went to
Gray
Texas Tech.
now.
Yeah, red, black. I went to Texas Tech, red and black and red, whatever you want to say. And I went to Denver City, the red, gray was a nice combo. Went to PI, or it was the Lubbock High, the black and silver or black and gold. Uh, PI, the blue and silver. But personally, I think the best color scheme is always the red and gray, red, silver. I wish you could put black with it because black will bring more things, but charcoal gray with red just is different feel to things. But if I really could, I would really like to work at a school that was red, blue, and white.
Ooh, American colors.
American red, white, and blue, baby. You could do so much with red, white, and blue. It's unreal.
Yeah.
You
The
want a fun
jerseys.
fact?
What's
Fun
that?
fact.
What?
Used to be.
Red,
They
white, and
used to
blue.
be, yeah, Columbia blue, red, and white used to be the color scheme.
Nice.
Then Coach Purser came in and phased the red out and then threw in the navy.
Yeah. Which I
And
mean,
now
it fits. It fits. I mean, red, white, and blue. You could do like matching red jerseys, blue pants. Anything. But yes, I would say the red and silver, red and gray, Denver City and Terrell Tigers, baby. Their color schemes are nice, but you can't go wrong with blue either. But I'm wearing blue as we speak, the royal blue. But I would say red and silver definitely is my favorite color scheme I work for. Plus, I have a lot of red.
Yes, you do. And when you
it's
get
always
fired up,
nice.
you do turn red. So
Oh, is that right?
yes, case in point last week.
Touche, sir. Touche. What else? What else we got? I found something. I found
Oh,
something interesting that I tweeted it. I retweeted it or reposted it, whatever you want to say, about uh, the KPI. I'm talking about the KPI. Keep people informed, keep people involved, keep people interested, and keep people inspired.
not bad.
Yeah, KPI, baby. Thought that'd be something cool for Cletus to put in his BIM class or BIM, whatever it's called.
Yeah, put it on the wall.
Yeah, there you go, Cletus. There's just more stuff on the wall as he's
Yeah.
ignoring us. How's that Untold watching?
I'm watching film.
But this
What?
is not a professional development meeting.
I'm watching film.
Wow.
You're just an old ball coach at heart.
Old ball
Always find
coach.
time to watch.
Old ball coach. He just needs. Hey,
Yes,
man,
sir.
this is how funny. Okay, speaking of old ball coaches, Steve Spurrier, legend. We were in a meeting, a coaches meeting, and someone was like, "The old ball coach," talking about Steve Spurrier, and one of our younger coaches was like, "Who's that?" And you're like,
You just want to like look at him like, what the
"Are you
hell?
serious?" Like, and he goes, one of them goes, "Yeah, the coach of South Carolina said one." I was like, "Yes, he coached at South Carolina, but that's not where he got his nickname from."
That's not where he got famous.
It's like, no, young pups.
Oh. Have you worked with a guy yet that you could have coached?
No, not yet. Have you?
The last two stops.
Been in the game for 10 years now.
The last two stops. I've one of our young coaches here. He graduated in 2018. Yeah, 2018. So I was at DC in 2018. So I could have coached him. In Ozona, one of our two of our young coaches I could have coached. They both graduated in 2016, 17. So yeah, I've worked on two staffs already where I could have coached the youngest guy on staff.
Wow. You're an old fart, man.
You are an old fart, but don't
32.
worry. One of these days we'll all be in that same boat. Like we're
Back in my day, we didn't have to coach like that. We coached like this.
Shit.
back in my day. We
Adapt or die. Adapt to the times or die.
Oh,
That's what it is.
That's crazy. I think I'm what? When did I start? 19? No,
16, didn't you? 16.
16.
My first year and your first year at DC.
Yeah.
My first year at DC and your first year coaching.
Yep.
like full-time coaching.
Yeah.
And I thought Jack hated me.
I hate a lot of people.
He
I
gives off
know.
that vibe to people.
He had the RBF bad.
It's I test the waters. I dip my toe in.
Oh no, 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 no! You don't dip your toe in. you cannonball in that son of a bitch.
But oh man.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised you still have that hat up there on display.
Which one?
The one at the very top.
That
No,
one?
the one to the left.
This one?
Uh, the
That
one
one?
up higher. Hey, did you see me and Josh's Twitter
Yeah.
beef today?
No, I didn't. I've been on off of X for
So
a
here,
little
I'll
bit.
start it. I'll start it for the listeners too. Like, obviously, they can go check out our Twitter pages and stuff like that. But like, cause we went out, me and some of the other coaches, like, we went out and just kind of hung out a little bit. Well, the place we were at, they had the Cowboys game and some other preseason. Of course, the Cowboys lost, whatever. So like
Don't
today,
make
I
it
got
sound
on.
like that happens all the time. Wait a
Well,
sec. Continue. I'll
anyway,
let it go. I'll let it live.
it was just preseason. Well, they just lost. Okay, whatever.
Oh
Anyway, so
no.
and then on Twitter, like there were several people like already. It just felt like they were just going in total meltdown, like fire the head coach and blah 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 blah. And I just simply sent out a tweet like I said like our Cowboy fans really overreacting after a preseason game. And then there's one lady that I'm friends with on there she's like from H Town. She's like it's just basically saying like it's our traditions, leave us alone or something like that. And I was like, oh, you're right, I apologize. And then Jack started getting into it. And then I forgot the first thing he said. Oh, he sent the Rock. He's like,
That's
that's what champions do." And it was the Rock gif of when the Rock did the pregame for when the Rams won the Super Bowl. And then I replied back, and it was like a guy.
it
It
was.
was a gif of a guy, and there was like empty cabinets behind him. And I was just kind of making reference they hadn't won nothing in a while.
Yeah.
And then I came back again with the Rams winning, and then Jack replied, he's like 5-2. And I was like, all right, fair point. That's where it kind of ended, but it was
With
just a
Jack
little
going like
fun.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But it was just a little fun banter back on Twitter. Obviously, we both knew that it was, you know, all
We're not gonna get riled up, but
yeah, you know,
we might rile someone else in the process.
yeah. Like Jack knows that when I do stuff like that, I'm trying to. I know I'm I'm poking him a little bit as the big bear. Within
But
like he
but
knows
let's
to
be
put me back in my place, so it just kind of goes
but
from
let's
there.
be fair. If the Cowboys perform like that this season, McCarthy may get fired.
I don't think they
Not
will.
may get fired. He will get fired.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I think he's a
Uh,
good coach. I think they just figure it out. It's
oh,
too
Cowboy Twitter was on fire yesterday, and I was about it.
When is it not?
yeah.
When is it not? Like they
When
can
the
be up,
Cowboys
like,
are up
when
when the Cowboys
by
are up
20,
40, that's when
fire.
it's not.
When the Cowboys are up 30, fire. When the Cowboys lose by 3, the world's gonna collapse.
Yep.
That's normal. That's normal. And it's preseason.
That's
Cowboys
just
lose
Cowboy
to the
fans.
Jaguars. The Cowboys didn't play any of their starters on defense. Trevor Lawrence gashes them. Touchdown. Oh no, we're gonna lose every game.
Was
Yeah,
that they couldn't sack him when they had three
yeah. Oh,
opportunities to? Yeah.
They had their starting offense, and the Cowboys were playing their new draft picks. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going
That's
to
my thing.
happen.
Shut up.
That's my thing about preseason. Like I like to like nowadays I don't watch as much, but like growing up, I used to like watching the preseason because I used to follow, college, and you watch those college guys get drafted or become unsigned free agents, and they were big names in high school and they were big names in college, and it's kind of interesting some of those guys their path to making it to the league, and then you watch preseason to kind of watch them, and then
Yes.
I mean like because for the most part in preseason you're not going to really see the stars that much, you know what I mean, at
Uh,
all, and so
Or the fact you'll see one on one team, and then when the season starts, they'll be on another team if they
yeah,
make.
and so like stuff
the
like that, and then at the end of the day, preseason is kind of like they're just glorified scrimmages like what we have, except it's just an actual game. It's just a lot of those guys, they're literally fighting for their NFL life, to make the roster, to make the 52-man roster. So
a handful of them are.
yeah, and so
You
at the end of
know,
the day, the wins and losses don't dictate how your season's going to go. Like you can go into preseason. I think nowadays it's two, right? Two preseason games.
Yeah.
The past it was four, and like some teams, they'd go 0-4 in preseason, and it'd be like or 3. They'd go 4 games and go, 0-4, and people would be like, "All right, that's it. We're gonna suck." And then the team would go,
On the Super Bowl.
13-3 or win a Super Bowl. Or you'd have teams
Yeah.
that go undefeated in preseason thinking, "All right, we're gonna have a great year," and then they go 6-10 or
Perfect
3-13.
example, Houston Texans.
Yep.
They went undefeated in preseason, and then the season came around. Crickets.
I was listening to ESPN radio or Fox Sports Radio today, and the guy made a good point. He goes, "You look at high school, college, you really don't have preseason games in those two levels. Used to back in the day, you had preseason because those guys had a second job. Those NFL players weren't making enough money, so they had like second jobs in the off season, and those games were designed to kind of get them kind of right, get them going for the season.
Right.
Well, now, 2023, these athletes are making more money and they're training, and for the most part, most of those guys you could play a game tomorrow, and 95% of NFL players will be ready to go
Right.
Yep.
because they stay ready, they train and stay ready, and so he's like, why even have preseason games?
Oh, I
But
think it's good
again,
for certain
it's
things.
for it's for the
Right.
guys who are trying to make that roster.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's good for other things too. Like, I don't know. I know the big guys, the stars and stuff don't play much, but can you make the same argument like for the offensive linemen? Do they, I know they're NFL caliber and they're the best of the best, but is it nice for them to be able to get reps in a preseason or in
Yeah,
practice? Do they get the same or better? Right, because they're probably going up against the ones
but
level.
who got hurt the other day? It was a linebacker from I want to say it was one of the big contender teams like Baltimore or something like that. He got he got Achilles injury and is out for the year.
Yeah,
Mm.
that happens. Like, and it's unfortunate, like ours here, but it's like every year there's always somebody that goes down in preseason. Like,
Right. And
or
it's like, and they always made the argument, why play? Why are these guys playing in a meaningless game?
right,
But they need games. You got to get back in game speed because it's
yeah,
different.
Right.
Different
right,
games. It's a different game shape than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Preseason and practice. Like you mentioned earlier, JV is different than practice squad. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
that's true, very true. But
We are 27 days, I think, from college football. Maybe a little bit less.
You can always count on Cletus giving us the countdown, baby.
yeah, I
Guys,
know. I think
I,
we're like 11. What are we like 11 days away from Texas high school starting? Yeah, like 10 or
yes.
11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we start next Friday at home against River Road.
Let's
River
go.
Road, baby.
The road, Coach Welps.
hmm Good people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brownfield days.
This will make you feel old, Jack. Remember his son Lance when he was a seventh grader, eighth grader. We were at DC.
hmm He's coaching
He,
with him.
yep, he Lance is coaching with his dad at River Road.
That's
That
pretty
make
cool.
you feel freaking old.
Yeah, but it's
Wow.
still a pretty cool little thing to have there. So
That's
Yeah,
cool.
but yeah, we start freaking about 11 days.
And then, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
Jay
just
Bird.
did you see you know, my boy was at the tech practice. Coach Tolliver
yeah, I saw I saw the tweet about it.
saw it, man.
Or whatever.
Coach Tolliver. He's
That's
mine
pretty cool.
Adams coach in high school. Great dude, great person.
Shout out.
DC at
DC at Liberty.
Liberty.
Yep.
Hmm.
Shout out Coach Tolliver. But that was fun for him to go back to Tech and see all that
He's
cool
always
stuff.
been a tech guy ever since I've known him.
Yeah.
Did he play for him, right?
Mhm.
Like in the early 2000s?
Plus, because he's always, if he's not in his school that he's working with gear, he's in
He's-
Red Raider gear.
Yeah.
Always, every time I see him, he's either in the school he's coaching or Red Raider gear. I've never seen him anything else.
Yeah, I like Coach Tolliver. They are in our freaking spring district this year.
That's what I'm
Liberty is.
talking.
They got thrown in there before realignment. So
boy.
yeah, it'll be good. It'll be
So
good.
I don't know if you know this, but me and Josh have dates on our bye weeks.
Yes,
Oh
we do.
yeah.
Yeah, my bye week, and unfortunately, their bye weeks. They lined up perfectly, but they didn't line up perfectly because mine lined up where they're going to be playing Brock at Brock,
Mhm.
so that's a hike for me,
All right.
and I think his lines up where we play the Redbirds in
In
Melissa,
in Melissa.
which
Is
is a
that state? Is that stadium gonna be open this year
yeah,
or
it's
next
ready
year?
this year. It's up.
So y'all get to go to Melissa.
Yeah,
That'll be pretty. I mean, the stadium's gonna be pretty cool to see that.
definitely. I agree with that. So
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see just in
we have
general.
bye week.
For our bye week, I think I'm gonna go up to Olton and watch my buddy up there. They're playing Vega, and so
Vega.
I'll go up there and watch little Panhandle football.
Panhandle football, baby.
Yeah,
It's a little different. Should try to make a trip to the D.B.A.B.
nah,
No,
I'm good.
Why, man? Thanksgiving then?
Thanksgiving, yeah, yeah, Thanksgiving. So we'll see,
all right.
but it'll be good.
Our plan is to keep playing. That's our plan. PTT, baby. If you don't know what that means, that's play through Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of things like that kind of got brought up here recently. I think Jack, so you're in that conversation. Oh, I think you were when we went to your house to pick up stuff. But like, like for me personally, and it's not a brag. I didn't really think about it the other day, but like every year I've been a coach, so we've made playoffs, right? So it's just something kind of
Shut
just
up.
happenstance, whatever. And then, but for Trevor, I think every year he's been coaching, like he's always played on or after Thanksgiving or something like that.
Yeah, because when he was and I just know when he was a student teacher, he was at Mason,
Mhm.
and I think they played in Jerry World
Yeah, his
when
first
he
year they
was.
made it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's had a pretty impressive run too. Like I think it in the little write up they did of him here, like he said that he's only had like 3 district losses, and like I asked him about it, I'm like kind of just giving a hard time, like is that a typo or whatever? He's like, nope, 3, because obviously when they were at Mason, they were going on runs, and I think they were undefeated at Mason, and then went from Mason to um,
God dang. Well, what Muleshoe? He's at
yes,
Muleshoe for a little bit,
yeah,
Oh,
Muleshoe,
and they
and that's
were
where he said they lost. I think like his district games were. I think he said they lost 2 there, and then he went from there to Comanche, and he just happened to be in Comanche at a good spot where they
were going on some
were
runs.
going on some runs, and of course he went to Cooper, where they were at the time when they were going on runs, and then of course Idalou.
Idalou.
I think his third loss district was at Idalou. It was
Yeah.
just really impressive. I was like, dang, good.
He yeah.
was he at Cooper when they lost to Alito, where they
Mhm.
got cheated?
Yeah, I think so because he was there with Isaiah was there, and Nehemiah was there, and all those guys.
For all you people that don't agree, that was a fumble.
Yes.
Alito fumbled the ball.
And it's actually crazy speaking about Alito, like our offensive line coach here, Coach Gray, he's been in Peace for 4 or 5 years now. But prior to that, he's worked at Southlake, I think, and Alito, and he was at Alito when I think from 2012 to 17. I
Did
think
you
give
ask him
or take.
about it?
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit, but
What did he say?
it's just he's when we kind of talk about Alito, he just kind of he says like things have been done a certain way there for so long that it's just like
That's how you do things,
it's just a machine now. Like it's
right?
just how things are done. Like there's not sometimes you go to other places and you gotta instill a culture or do this and this and that. And he
The
said there, it's
the
like it's already there. It's just
yeah, the kids know the expectation.
yeah, right.
The kids know this. They know what it means to be a little
Bearcat.
Bearcat. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah,
And that's just the culture. You
right.
know,
And of
it's like
course,
when we went up to Gunner last year. That's kind of the same thing. That was the first time I've ever been in a place like that, and it's just what they do.
it
You
was pretty
know,
cool. And of course, he's obviously he's won a couple state titles when he was his time there and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of heard stories about stuff, and of course, some of the guys that he's coached or interacted with. You know what I mean? So it's just always for me. It's always interesting to hear those type of things because obviously it's not like it's something every day that I get to occur or work with somebody that's been around that. So
Definitely.
Yeah. Our AD was at Melissa for a little bit, like the early 2000s, when it was still kind of not quite growing as fast as it is now, but still,
2 years, 3 years, right?
yeah, when they were smaller. But
Hmm.
yeah, he was at Melissa for a little bit.
When
And
I first
he,
got the Terrell, they were 4A with us. And I had
hmm
them. I've been stuck with Melissa since I got the Terrell.
between them and Argyle.
Yeah, first got here at Argyle, then I got Melissa and Lovejoy now. But
Yeah. But yeah, man.
that's how the straws were dealt. But
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna try to give them a run for their money, put
Heck
them on the
yeah.
ropes, give them what we can.
all you
Speaking
can
of speaking of culture things, um, so Josh, what's I'm a big every person I interact with or every person I meet, I take some things I like and some things I don't like, and I write them down and keep them. So, what's one thing that you saw from your newly head coach that you think is over the top from everyone else you worked with, or something that you liked that you think will work different? It's going to work differently than you have with the other two people you work with. So, for like you work with Strunk and you work with
yeah,
Mobley, which
right.
those two are two different. Not that I'm not taking shots at either of them. Those two are
No, absolutely.
two differently
Yeah,
ran organizations and programs, and they got the same out of their players. Or
right.
like because Strunk and Mobley are completely different dudes, but they're great people.
Yes,
Um,
just
compared to Trevor,
right.
what's something that you've seen Trevor do that's different from both of them? That's going to like that you like.
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, Strunk and Mob, great people, great coaches. Definitely two different personality types.
Yeah.
Shout out to our boy Strong. He was a little bit more extrovert on stuff, where Mobley is a little bit more of an introvert stuff. He's really good at. Now they're both really good at uh, people management and talking to people and all that kind of stuff. Obviously they go about it different ways, but the thing about Trevor for me that's been really interesting is that obviously this is his first time as a head coach, so there's a lot of newness for him stepping into that role. So for me, it's just kind of living vicariously through him a little bit in terms of how he's dealing with stuff because a lot of it's brand new to him. You know what I mean? Of the role and responsibilities. Um, the one thing that's kind of nice for him is that he's just head football, so that's what he gets to concentrate on instead of having to be the AD as well and balancing that act. Um, but I think it was I don't know, maybe I told Cleet the other day or whatever. But like the one thing for me about Coach Owens is that he and I, talking about just us two, like we relate so much to each other. You know what I mean? Like over the fall camp, like kind of getting to know him a little bit more. But like we're both the same age. We have a lot of similarities that and stuff that we like to do. He's really down to earth. He's funny. Um, he builds really good camaraderie with the staff. Um, Even though he's a defensive guy, he tries to be around and involved with everything. He does a really good job of building relationships with kids. Um, so I would. It's hard to answer that question because we're still getting into it, and obviously he's trying to figure out the footing himself, if that makes sense, with his own role. Um, but again, like our saying this year, if you will, our motto is all in. You know what I mean? So, and,
That's
of course,
original.
yeah, and of course, something simple. Well, something simple.
Sorry,
I know,
I
I
had to.
know,
That's
I know.
and you can
I
tell
want you to text Trevor.
You can
I want
tell
you to text
Owens I
Owens that.
said that too.
I'll let him know, but well,
I'll
he
text his
tried to
ass
give
right
it. He
now.
tried to let the seniors come up with some, and then they didn't. Kind of took forever, and so he kind of had that one in place just in case or whatever. And so it's kind of simple. First year, all in. This place has had some rocky last years too in terms of stuff outside of football and stuff. So just trying to get everybody all in and
What did
communicate.
you say? How original? Is that what you say?
Is it all in? Very original.
Yeah. But anyway, so like I said, he's a great dude. He works
Hmm.
hard. One thing about him that obviously, Mob and Strunk when they were younger, they did it too. But like, he's not scared to like roll up his sleeves and go do the work that we all do. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. He
he's
still has a
not.
mentality as like an assistant.
Yeah, he still has that mentality, which obviously, he's just coming from that, so it's still ingrained into him. But he's no job is underneath him, kind of stuff. He doesn't have an ego, all that stuff. So, like I said, it's been great to work for. Still figuring him out. Still learning, seeing how he does things. Positive, upbeat. You know, I would say he's more mobbly like than strunk like, if that makes sense.
I'm
And
gonna
not,
tell
no, I
Strunk
don't.
you said that. I'm gonna tell.
No,
No, you mean it one way. I know
no.
what you
Well,
mean.
More
no, no. He's
he's
just
more of an introvert than
he's a
There's
little.
this.
He's
we
more
we did we
calm.
did we did say something funny about Strunk today on our way from home from church, but you can keep going. It
Well, just
was
and what I mean is that he's not a man, Jack. You know how strunk is. You know what I mean, especially on a Friday night.
or when the Yankees are playing.
Yeah, and he's a very passionate person about things, and he doesn't put his name on bullshit, that type of stuff. So, and it's also somewhat kind of really easy to really get him going. So if you really want to poke the bear, it's easy to get him going from 0 to 60 real quick. But he's got a great humor too. Like Strunk, he's got a great humor, and he'll roast your ass. And he doesn't take nothing too serious or anything like that.
Yeah, he never does. That's one thing that I have known Strunk. He doesn't take anything serious, like too serious.
No, he's
If you have a serious conversation with him, he'll take it serious. But other than that, good dude.
great.
Love the hell out of him. Uh, so so one thing that you've taken away from your boy Coach Owens is the new news, whatever, but newness of him being a head coach, and he rolls his hands up. All right,
Yeah,
Clady boy,
So
what's one thing you're taking from Mister? What's it, Coach Robinson?
yeah, at the
What?
Velt.
Yeah, at the Velt. What's one thing you're taking away from him for your head head coach handbook?
Um, it's kind of the same with Josh because this is Rob's first job.
Yeah,
This is his first ever head coaching job.
yeah,
And so it's kind of that same thing, kind of like Trevor. He's Rob's not afraid to roll his sleeves up, and you know, get laundry done, get the equipment out, get water set out, get ice ready to go, and it's that kind of stuff. Granted, he comes from the Seth Parr tree, Coach. He was his first few years with Coach Parr, and so he the Velts it's been the smallest school he's ever been at, so he's trying to adapt the 5A mentality to a 3A and
different.
how to yeah, and like he said the other day, like Coach Parr's big things like numbers. We gotta have numbers, we gotta have backups, we gotta have every position has to have 2 to 3 backups.
Yep,
Small school,
can't always do that.
you're not going to. And so he goes, and he knows he's learning. He goes, I know what I know. I know what we did and how we did stuff, but it's the newness. Um, Robinson's not afraid. When I appreciate, he's not afraid to ask questions, and he's not afraid to get input from the staff. He's not afraid to go tell OC, "Hey Lopez, what do you think about this?" Or "Hey Cleat, can you look over the? Can you look over the?" So something I did this last week was look over the scrimmage format, and just asked him, so how many plays you want, and he goes, look over this, see what you think, see what you've used before, and get back to me. It's okay, because so he's not afraid, and he puts his ego to the side of, like, if he doesn't know something, he'll try to get everyone's input on it and what we think about stuff. Now, ultimately, it's going to be
It's
his
his
decision.
decision. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
his decision, but for the most part, if he has a question, he's not afraid to say, "Hey, what do you think about this?"
yeah.
You know, and this is the first place I've been at where, granted, being the old fart, being being at this a little bit, you know, my what my input. I feel like sometimes
Being heard.
he kind of listens to just because I've just been around and been at different programs and seen different things how we did stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what I do appreciate is he's a big believer in the weight room.
Mm,
Like
good.
we lift 3 to 4 times a week. We'll lift
Look,
no, yeah, we'll lift 4 times a week.
you know who looks like in this podcast it doesn't look like they lift?
I agree.
Oh, look,
So
Cletus
so
lifts. No cardio for Cletus. You know what his
lift
cardio is?
lift
You know what?
faster,
That's Cletus's cardio.
lift faster. You want cardio? Lift faster.
His cardio is something we can't mention on the podcast, right?
But anyway, that's the big thing. Like Rob, he's not afraid, which I do appreciate is he's not afraid to ask questions and ask input from his staff.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, like Coach Cummings, he had two brand new guys, a
Yeah.
guy who's only been 6 man and he's only been coaching 7, 8 years, a guy who's only been coaching 5 years, and him being 10 years. And so, like, he had to make a lot of those decisions just because our staff was super young, and so he didn't really have people on staff to lean on.
Yeah.
Coach Fontenot, been at it a
Fontenot's
while.
Fontenot, man.
Fontenot's Fontenot. He's going to do what he does.
Yeah.
He's been at this a while, so he knows what he wants to do, how he wants to do it. He'll ask the two coordinators what they think.
Yeah.
But other than that here's what we're doing. Rusty was kind of the same way. Here's what we're doing.
I think one thing from Fontenot that I took away from he's different from every coach I've worked with and seen is kids first.
Yeah, piss on
a
everything
coach.
else.
Like
Yeah.
he's gonna. That's not like bad thing, but whatever. He would literally talk
If
to
it
a kid.
benefits a kid,
If he would literally talk and build a relationship with the kid before he did with the coach.
well, and it's the whole thing of if it benefits the kid, let's do it.
Yeah.
If
Even though we as coaches didn't think it would work, but he thought the kid could do it, he could do it. He was a big advocate. Don't tell me what the kids can't do. Tell me what they can do.
Right.
That was Fontenot. Yeah, that was Fontenot.
Yeah.
And he did not care if he pissed off every administrator at that high school.
Yeah.
He didn't.
No.
If it benefited a kid, he would piss off every administrator
Yes.
in the
Right.
district, and he
Yes.
did not give a crap.
Yeah.
But I think he also knew, and that helps, that he could retire tomorrow and still be okay.
Yeah.
And Rusty was he's been a head coach a long time, for about 10, 12 years, and he knows what he wants to do, and he does it, and he just makes sure you're organized. That's it. That was Rusty's kind of what I took from Rusty was just make sure you're organized and make sure you got everything on. You're on top of everything.
Your ducks are in a row, baby. Your
Yep.
chickens are in the
Because
coop.
we met more at
Hayes in the
Greenwood
barn.
than I ever have. That's something Rob was telling me with Coach Parr. They would have 5:30 a.m. meetings every day from the start of 2 days to the end of school.
That's crazy.
5:30 a.m. And he would go, okay, hey Jack, I need you to break down all third downs from last year. He goes, yeah, but Coach Parr was all about football. If you weren't about football, Coach Parr wasn't the guy to work for.
Right.
And so that's just something, that's he learned a lot from Coach Parr just because Coach Parr was all about football, and he held his coaches accountable.
Yeah.
I was joking with him. We had a defensive drill not go the way Coach Robinson wanted it, and it looked like crap. It was during Midnight Madness. And I jokingly told Robinson, said, what would Coach Parr say right there? He said he would rip every coach's ass in that drill. Really, guys? This is how you want to look? And he would be ripping every coach on the field's ass if that drill, if one of his drills looked like the drills looked like that.
Mm.
He said, but you know, he but he demanded a lot from his coaches, and he held his coaches accountable.
That's what we all should do. We should be
Mm-hmm.
accountable. We keep each other accountable all the time, don't we, Joshua?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
All the time.
all the
You have
time.
to. It's like a big thing our OC and Celia always said. Well, keep it accountable and stuff, but you either coach it or allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The longest cliche, longer than Beauty and the Beast, man.
But fellas,
Yeah.
as always, anything else, Jack? Sorry.
I don't know. You just cut me off. You don't want me to ask him more questions. That's fine. I
No.
just
Well,
I'm just I just I've never had the opportunity to work with a first year head coach. I'm just trying to ask questions.
like I
Yeah.
like I
Be
said,
curious, like Ted Lasso. Be
yeah,
curious. Ask
like I
questions.
said, it is really an interesting process because it's like you're all in it together of trying to figure stuff out compared to when you have somebody who's been in the role, who knows
Yeah.
how to go through and cross all the T's, dot all the I's, been there and does that. He's not saying that we weren't organized, but being more involved with that process and having more input, like Lita said, and feedback, um, and trying to just help him be successful and get him out. And
Mm-hmm.
we've had, obviously we have guys on staff that have been around at different places, been around for a while. So like, of course, he didn't have the mindset where he came in and was like, all right, I'm doing everything.
My way.
Fuck all y'all. You're doing it my way, or you're getting the hell out. You know what I mean? It's never been like that. It's been like, yes, this is my show, but we're all gonna be part of this production. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and for me,
That's
it's been fun to just see. And of course, I still don't know. Like, if you threw me in the role tomorrow, like I would be just like him. Of course, he has a great resource to fall back on with Coach Mob, but still, it's just kind of going through that stuff, trial and error, asking around, seeing things that work and don't work, and all that kind of stuff.
and that's the thing I say here is it's kind of like y'all. We have an AD separate from the head football, and so he's been a great resource for Coach Rob. We have a couple of guys who've been head football coaches before, or a guy has been a head football coach before. It's been a great resource, you know. Um, just the but
It's a
yeah,
different
just
world when you get that title AD and head coach. That's one that
right.
that's
That's the one that you're never ready for because you got
Yeah,
everything.
yes.
and even like speaking of that, like again talking about Coach Mob, and I'm sure even Coach, Strunky Boy would even attest to it. But you know, it feels like nowadays smaller schools, obviously the bigger schools, like being an AD and head football coach is just too much because one, there's so many more sports that are offered in bigger schools, and there's way more kids. So it's just you guys already know about the hassle that goes on with just kids in general and parents and the political side of stuff or whatever. So obviously the bigger schools you have to separate it, but it even feels like even in some at the smaller schools now that they're kind of somewhat kind of have to go to that. So you have somebody that can take care of that side of it, but take care of all the sports and not have to worry about
Your sport
football because we all know football's a grind and it's going to be a grind for the
generation.
grind is for 4 to 5 months, but it's a sport that's year round. You know what I mean? So
What?
Yeah.
Well, and like, and you'll get that parent of a cross country kid who's mad that you didn't go to that cross country meet because
right,
you got Saturday film. Happened to Jared last year. Had a cross country kid parent get mad, and he told him, "So we have football practice." He goes, "Well, that's your job as AD to be there."
yeah,
Not wrong.
so,
He's not. I mean, the guy's not wrong.
no, but
You
it's
know,
No,
you know
he's not wrong.
it's
it's a tough
and
job to
so
juggle. You know what I mean? Especially
yeah.
during football season.
Yep. Yep. I don't got anything else, Joshua. You're gonna cut me off. That's fine.
I didn't
You're
cut
gonna
you off. I was starting
He'll
to talk,
he'll
and
sh-
then I heard.
shh.
shh, shh, he'll shush you.
I
Shh,
think it's just a little tick I do, and I don't even notice it. But
You
tick.
keep saying that, but you've done it 3 times already.
Yeah, it's not
You've
a
done it
tick.
3
You're just
times
doing it to be a jerk.
since we've done this podcast. So
Yeah.
at least 3 that we've caught. At least 3.
Anyway, type of bullshit. I don't.
Hey, I just want to say something real quick.
Okay, go
Jack's
ahead.
internet has been fantastic.
Hey,
Oh,
don't jinx it. Don't jinx it, man.
It's probably because we took all that furniture out of the one bedroom now, so loud.
That's
There's something blocking
probably
it.
true, but there's also Hannah called him a couple of weeks ago and gave him the business.
Ooh,
Good.
good.
Mhm.
Good.
That's one thing about Hannah. Like, if you need her, she's gonna go
If-
drop the hammer on somebody.
She doesn't care if it hurts anyone's feelings
Yeah.
in the process.
That's like the meme I've seen. I think I've seen on Facebook and Twitter, and it's talking about like a guy and his girl, and it's just like, why do guys like to go for girls that are like extroverts or whatever? And the thing says like, well, I'm not going to tell the waitress that I ordered French fries and not mashed potatoes or something like that. You know, like, I'm sure y'all have seen it, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
if you need somebody to drop the hammer, just give Hannah a call and she'll drop that fucking hammer for you.
Drop the hammer.
It's not, I have, I try to be nice to people.
Hmm.
Hannah doesn't care.
No, she does not care.
Yeah. That's like my dad. My dad does not like telemarketers does not give a rip.
Mm. Well, and then at the end of the hand, it's like, oh, should I have said that? You said it. You can't go back.
Yeah, you let them know how you feel. There's no way of going back on that one.
Give them the business.
Mm-hmm. But
Well, fellas, as always, it's great to, obviously come together and be able to have fun with each other, talk about life, talk about our what's going on in our respective sports worlds that are our schools, and then sports world in general, and whatnot. What was that?
I need a Peaster band.
Oh yeah, I'll get you. I got you on one. I got. So here's the thing this year. So usually, so real quick, like the past couple of years, at Sealy, I just got one color and I would just get 200 made and just give them out. Well, this year I was just like, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. So I got a white one with blue writing. There's a gray one with blue writing, and then there's a blue one with white writing. So y'all just let me know which one you want. Um, I'll give it to you. Also got y'all some merchandise that needs to head y'all's way as well.
Dang.
I'm trying to hook you up with some
Oh,
piece
I
of
need
gear.
a.
Well, it's also, we're also
Yeah,
waiting
that.
for our hat mock up that was supposed to be
I know.
3 months ago from our brother.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so, but it's supposed to say pay the light, baby.
I know. I can't wait. I'm hoping that with all this weight, that this hat is going to come out and be absolutely.
Oh, it should be bomb.
It with the weight we are getting now, it should
Yes.
be absolute
The
fire.
And
by
then
the
supply
way,
and demand, the
I
first
use
mock up
that.
will be on air. What?
Mm.
I used that the other day. Our principal goes, "Tell me your why." And I
Ah,
make someone feel like somebody.
Mm-hmm.
boom, baby. Speaking of that, our principal, I'm a little
Salty.
energetic. I'm a little energetic. If you don't know, Sudbury gives me a hard time because when I got here, I was 350, and now I'm 250. And he said
Right.
it's like I hired a whole new, completely different coach. It's like the same guy but a different coach or whatever. But anyway, so I'm sitting there walking the hall. I have a little music. I showed you a picture. I have a JBL speaker clipped in my belt loop, and I'm walking around in my Hawaiian shirt, blaring music in the halls during passing period. And our new principal's looking at me as I'm walking up the stairs, and he's like looking at me with the funny thing. He's like, "Oh, that's you." And I said, "Yeah, be the light, Gilmore. Be the light."
Amen.
So
Amen.
You were 350 when it said hired you.
yeah,
Now you're
all of it,
250.
all of 350.
Mm.
Thanks, PI.
Yes, that last year, I would say, was very stressful down there.
Stress
I'll
eating,
bet.
baby. Stress eating.
Stress eating, stress drinking. I would say, like the one thing that kind of helped gave us somewhat of a um, uplift, if you will,
Was the food.
the food, the drinking, the camaraderie from us playing Call of Duty all the time, and then when
Yes.
we were able to go play
Golfing.
golf,
Yeah.
yeah,
That was.
have a nice cigar every once in a while.
COVID.
That
I was
was
thinking about COVID. I think I was thinking about it today when I was driving up to the school, just kind of thinking about the last couple of years. And for some reason, I was thinking about 2020, and I was thinking about COVID. And I'm like, how crazy it was,
yes,
like all that happened. But it was kind of nice, like at that point, like especially where we were in our
yeah,
time at PI, like having those last 2 months off and not worry about stuff. Like it was kind of nice.
yeah.
I feel like every 4 years, they just last 2 months of school, they just do that. Go into
They
have
should
four
just if
4 months,
Just have a pandemic that reached the world
yeah, or just
off for
just
2 months.
no, but just not a pandemic. Like we don't want everything to go fucking haywire, but just every 4 years, like for a 4 month period, like
just
for
a
school off,
reset or what?
just 4 months off. Just go, just get out of school early. 2 months. We can't don't shut down because then the world's gonna go.
You say that now because you don't have those kids as seniors yet. The COVID kids are not seniors yet. That's why you're saying that. You'll see how great teachers are and how bad some teachers are if they haven't caught up, and you'll see when you get to them as seniors. I think they're one year away
Yeah, I was about to say because I remember at
From what?
Sealy,
from the COVID lockout year, kids being seniors.
yeah, because at Sealy, like the last 3 years, like every
2020,
time,
we're at 23. COVID is in 2020, 21,
right,
22, 23,
yeah,
24. Next year, those
24,
seniors
right.
are the ones that experience
Will
COVID.
be will be freshmen.
No, they'll be seniors.
Oh, they were okay. Yeah, I see.
No,
I see
we've
what
already
you're saying.
had the COVID year. The COVID year kids are freshmen. And I'm telling
Yeah.
Josh, he's going to see how
Okay.
good
Yeah.
teachers were, or how bad teachers were if they caught them up when they're seniors. He will see.
Right.
I got you. I got you. The next year seniors will be the first class that experienced COVID. No, yeah. This senior class is the last class that did not have COVID
Yes.
for X amount of time. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I get you. I smell what you're stepping in now.
Yeah, you smell what I'm stepping in?
Yeah, I smell what you're stepping in.
You
It
see how
confused the
far
hell out of me from like, what
you,
the
you can
fuck are
see
you
how
talking about?
far
Yeah,
um like years they are back, and then you'll see it later from the later years. From that point on, it'll be the track marker of how behind they are.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
it is
Oh.
crazy. I don't know. I know. I remember at Sealy, like the graduation. The last 3 years have been like, oh, I remember my freshman year was great, and then COVID hit, and then it's like, I remember my sophomore year, and then COVID hit. So like, it's kind of get to that where that's kind of phasing out. I mean, where these kids are. Everybody was affected by it. You know what I mean? But in terms of
Oh yeah.
their high school career being affected by it, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But like I said, always, gentlemen, it is a blessing and an honor to be with you all. You guys are my be the lights every single day,
Oh
no matter
shucks.
no matter what we are talking about, whether we're roasting each other, having a good time, laughing, serious talks, inspirational. You guys, like I said, are always a blessing to me, and it's always fun to be able to have these opportunities to come up here and
Stop that.
have our little podcast show. Yeah, stop yawning. Have our podcast show and talk about sports, talk about life. And, it's something that we talked about doing a couple years ago, and now we're here.
21 episodes in, baby.
Yeah, now we're
Yeah, we are
here.
21.
Yeah, we're having a great time. It's just rolling whenever we get opportunities to meet and talk. And obviously nowadays, it's a little bit more challenging to get the whole
This is
crew in there. But
catch up time.
Yeah, I mean it's our catch up time, and we get to just record it and send it out to the masses, and whoever listens, and whoever doesn't
Shout
doesn't.
out to our listeners.
yeah, shout out to our listeners always. You know what I
How
mean? Like,
many how many
I don't know.
listeners? Like 4 of them. All 4 of y'all that listen. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I think it's double digits by now. But our main
Hey,
Just flip
our
the
main
yeah,
quarter, baby.
our main people, right?
Shout out
Obviously
to
Anna,
double digits.
yeah.
All 10
Anna,
of y'all.
Coach Austin, Coach Benny Blaze, all of our dudes. Shout out to them for always
yeah.
listening to them and
Support.
all that kind of good stuff.
When the hats get the mock up, you don't have to buy one. They're coming straight to you.
Yeah,
The originals.
exclusive first order of hats going to
Oh,
our first time
yes.
listeners.
Thank
Um,
you, the 10 of y'all.
yeah,
Not 11, 10.
yeah.
Thanks, Cleet. Thanks for the 10, man. It's as
I
many
put
as
it in
years you've been in
perspective,
education, man.
Yes.
dude. But yeah, it's been nice, guys. Just being able to, when we don't do it, it feels like the week's like
Longer?
yes,
Hmm.
Yeah.
yes. And it's like I have some like I have something to talk about on the podcast, and we don't record. And it's like, well, mother.
Yeah, and then when you wait another week, then it's just
You
like
lose
that
it.
moment's already come gone. It's like you can't
Yeah,
bring it up.
exactly.
It's like,
Yeah, it's then you go for something else. But
Yep.
yeah, appreciate you guys
well, you could
as
always, if you needed
always.
to, you could always record an episode by yourself.
It might be the best, you know,
Yeah, it might be the best.
just a bit outside.
It might go viral, and
Yeah,
we just explode.
His old
It
commentator
makes
days.
yeah.
Yeah.
The y'all be good. Hey, stay hydrated. I know that scrimmage, dude. That first scrimmage, that was the first time our kids were out in like the afternoon
Yeah.
because we've been practicing all in the morning.
Nice.
Dude, I felt
it's hot.
every. Oh,
It's
it's
hot.
110.
105
Wow.
last Friday. With
I'm
no
not-
humidity. Ours is no humidity.
We don't have any humidity here
Yeah,
either.
it's been dry here.
Dry. But I will say this: wood chips way cooler than black pellets.
Coach,
Yeah.
we have wood chips too. And it's been
It's
because
nice.
I kept thinking like, oh, it could be a lot worse. We could be on
Yes.
that freaking black turf and it'd be 120 on the freaking turf.
Yes. Burn through your cleats.
Yes,
Yes.
but the wood chips are game
nice
changer.
Game
It
changer.
is a game changer.
Oh, Josh's grass. His is nice.
Yes.
His is nice too.
Yeah, the grass has been nice. It's just been hot. Now, for me, like it's the dry heat's a little bit different compared to being where we have. But
Humid.
I
all
just
the
I just
freaking-
try to stay hydrated. I drink a lot of water throughout the day, so I don't feel like during practice that I need to drink as much water. Maybe some other people who don't hydrate as well. But and of course I wear long sleeves and stuff like that.
You crazy.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to, the tan part and all that, but all that kind of stuff.
Can you see my tan line?
I know, but I feel like I feel
Jack,
better
can
when
you
I
go
have a little.
bro tanks in the practice?
I wish. I really
Go
would.
bro-
You would.
I
Jack
would.
definitely would go bro tank.
Go bro
Or I'd
tank.
wear,
Go bro tank tomorrow.
or
Go
I'd
bro
wear,
tank tomorrow.
I'd wear cutoff hoodies.
Go bro tank tomorrow.
Be frowned upon. No, man, he's the same guy that wears a case jacket with sleeves. That's not a good look. Whoever does
Our
I
head
do
coach
that.
does that.
it's
Our
not
head
a
coach
good look.
does cage jacket
like
with
it.
sleeves. I'm thinking, why?
It's not a good
It
look.
defeats the purpose of a cage jacket.
Yes, I know Josh does. That's why I'm taking a shot.
I know. I do. I don't care. That's my style. That's my fashion.
I need
I would
speaking
wear
of,
no
I need to
sleeve.
find me a cage jacket. I can't find anything right now.
I can't find a fucking blue one. Drives me crazy. But anywho, I'll just keep
Anyway.
work.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Again,
man.
Yeah, it's okay. I
I'm
got my
sorry,
black.
man. You could just wear your
I got my black one. So we're
your measly sleeves with your cage jackets.
I will. Thank you.
That's not a good look, by the way.
Well,
You gotta go bucket.
I guess I can't say much because I wear a vest.
yeah, I don't. That's whatever you're comfortable in dressing up in and stuff, and that's just mine.
I want to try go vest this year because I found a black or a maroon long sleeve that would look good with a black vest.
Like game day look.
Yeah, like when it gets a little cooler.
Swag. Hey man,
Wait,
he gave me so much crap. I wore Air Force Ones and stuff on the sideline. He gave me crap. And,
at the end of the day,
I
it's
did
just-
not give you crap about it.
It's your fashion. Your fashion is what you want to do, man. So,
what I want to do, man.
I'm gonna buy.
What I want to do, man.
what I
I'm
want to
gonna
do,
buy
man.
I am gonna buy my black New Balance
Swag.
574.
Swag.
I just want to let you know, Clea, it's not a good look though, but that's all right. Anyway,
New Balances.
Black New Balances
Coming
are-
from the guy that wears cage jackets with sleeves
in a bucket hat.
and a bucket hat.
I love
So
it.
I wore a bucket hat the second day of practice. And I've came to realizations I don't like them because it doesn't feel like you can breathe in them. That's just me. I don't
I
wear
like
bucket
them because they protect my bald ass head, but then they give me coverage all around my face.
I'm the same way, Josh. But the hat I wore for the scrimmage, I sweated through that bitch. I set it down and you can just see the sweat stains all around it now. Oh, it's dude, I freaking sweat. I sweat like a son of a gun as a big boy.
I do too. But that
Shut up, Jack. You're 250 now.
I am a big boy, but that bucket hat, it's like feels like you didn't get no air circulation or anything.
Mhm.
So I'm not. I stopped wearing it.
I'm going with
I have a white one,
Is it a bucket hat or a boonie hat?
It's a sun hat. I don't know.
It's sun hat. Okay. I was like,
It's
I
like
like
the
the
brim
one like
goes out to
Josh had.
here. It's like one
Yeah,
like Josh
the
has.
wide brim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
So I have one of those, and I have one of the ones that are like it's like an inch or two on each side.
yeah. What does that protect?
Your ears. That's really it.
Oh, yeah.
Protects your ears.
Well,
I
it's like
I rather
sleeves,
have
bro. It's like wearing sleeves.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I used to be long sleeve coat. I you wear long
yeah,
sleeve,
yeah,
just like Nike shirts with
yeah.
a
Me
long
too.
sleeve, and I
I,
said screw it. I'd rather be
I've always liked wearing long.
I hate because I sweat so much, and
Yeah.
then they get heavy.
I don't.
You
I don't
don't
know. If,
sweat. You're not a fat boy, so you don't
I know,
understand,
but even
Mister
when being
Red
outside,
beans and eggs or black beans and eggs. Stop.
like
You don't understand when your arm
I
when
know.
your arm gets sweaty and the sweat goes on the arm sleeve and the sleeves get heavy
mhm.
and you have to like pull them up because the sleeves are so heavy. Yeah, you don't
All right.
understand.
That
All
was
right.
the nice
Yeah,
thing
you're
with
right.
like Coach Cummings. He would buy us 4 shirts, 2 of the same kind, but one short sleeve, one long sleeve. So
Yep.
if you wanted to go long sleeve, you can go wear long sleeve. You want to go short sleeve, you can wear short sleeve. But what I did appreciate about him is like blue. We wore blue Monday, Tuesday, white shirt on Wednesday. You know, we had we the coaches had like your uniform. You look the same.
Mm.
I've never been anywhere else where we're like that. You
They
just
just
kind of like wear what you got and go coach.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But scrimmages and JV games and stuff and for sub varsity games and varsity games most of the time uh, they want us to be
was
uniform or close to,
right.
but Jack puts a little flair in it sometimes.
Well, I'm gonna order my shoes and hopefully they're here by next.
Let's make sure they're not Heather.
Oh, they're black, gray, and dude, I'm good. We're good to go there. I was either gonna buy that one or the burgundy. The black ones or the burgundy ones.
I'll get black.
I would get black too. Just
Josh
'cause-
is gonna pick black.
Black, black, black.
yeah, I'm gonna get black because
Black.
that and you can wear them a lot more.
Yep,
Like go to tech game, I can wear them.
wreck 'em. No, put your gun down. You still can't do it yet. I still don't forget. I'm still holding grudges. I will break it and put it somewhere you don't want it to go.
Dun
I know.
dun
All right.
dun
Well, that's a
dun
great way to end the episode. Everybody,
dun
always
dun
remember the
dun dun
DBAB
dun
podcast can
dun
be found
dun
anywhere
dun
possible.
dun
Podcast
dun
can be
dun
found YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all the above. Always a great ending. We don't even need a song with Glee to sing it like that. But anyways, to our listeners, thank you as always. It has been another great episode of the DBAB podcast. Check us out next week. Go listen. Go tell your friends about us. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Let's grow this. Let's have fun. And then hopefully in the near future, we will have hats for mock ups for everybody to look at
And don't forget, be the light.
and be the
Be
light
the
as always.
freaking light.
Fellas, as always, it's been a pleasure. See ya.